Broadcast live on the Odyssey app is KFXX KWJJ HD2 Portland 1080 The Fan, an Odyssey sports station.
He was on the sidelines doing all sorts of media gigs this year, and as he sat back and observed the landscape and the changing college landscape that's more like a football business with NIL money, I think that attracted him more and more, especially considering that the NFL turned its back on him last offseason.
This is Dirt and Sprague.
Young alley-oop pass to Hunter. And the largest lead is now 14. And Trey Young skipping in front of the New York crowd. 7 seconds away from heading to Vegas.
With Andy Dirt Johnson and Brendan Sprague.
I'm not ready to answer that question. I'm pissed off. I wanted to go to Las Vegas. We wanted to win this cup. And, we aren't going because of a loose ball foul 80 feet from the basket with the game on the line. I've never seen anything like it in my life, and that was ridiculous. Thank you.
Dirt and Sprague on 1080 The Fan.
All right, 6:02 in the Rose City. Time for Dirt and Sprague on Portland Sports Leader 1080 The Fan. Good morning. Happy Thursday, everybody.
What is happening?
I have that really uncomfortable, like when someone talks to you and they shift the whole body.
Yeah, the neck stiffness.
Oh, my God. I don't know how I slept last night, but I woke up and, my shoulder all the way up to my neck.
Oh, it's a great feeling, isn't
It's
it?
that, what is it called? Kink? A kink?
You got a kink in your
A
neck.
big, knot just right there.
We got to get this guy a massage, man. Got to get you a rub down this weekend.
I don't know if a massage would even get it out. It's, bad.
When was the last time you had a massage?
From a professional?
From a professional. Like you went in, derobed, laid down on the table.
Sadly,
Oils.
The aroma
Vietnam.
candles
Vietnam.
going.
Oh,
Sadly, Vietnam.
how were they in Vietnam?
Delightful.
Yeah, were they good?
Yeah.
Nice.
My wife was next to me. So
Okay,
stop
just
going. I know
I'm
where you're
just
going.
asking.
I
I'm
know what
just
you're
wondering.
doing.
I'm just checking, making sure.
We didn't go to those buildings. There are
Okay.
those buildings. Those buildings are pretty easy to identify.
I've heard stories. There's a lot of them over there.
These were the touristy white people buildings.
Hey.
Hello.
How much
Here's-
was the massage in Vietnam?
The
in
first-
American Standard dollars.
First one was $35.
Okay, that's a little bit more than I would have guessed.
Yeah, not everything is $3.
Super cheap.
Yeah.
You figured just go get a massage for 79 cents. It's like getting a Big Mac, man. It's like a Happy Meal massage.
No, it's
drive-through massage. This is great.
The second one, I want to guess. Second one, I fell asleep completely. I don't even remember how it
Just
was.
passed out halfway through.
Passed out.
Yeah, you're all done.
I don't know.
Do you think they kept rubbing you after you fell asleep?
She definitely did.
She definitely did.
The second one.
I'd be contemplated if I was given a massage and the person fell asleep, just be like, getting paid either way.
Well, I think what keeps you asleep is the fact that they keep doing it.
Once you remove the touching, then all of a
Yeah.
sudden you wake up.
The second one got on me, like her entire body. She jumped on the table,
Sure.
and then she was her feet were on my butt, and her hands were rubbing my back shoulder area.
Yeah.
Right in the butt.
Nice.
It doesn't have to always
That
go
sounds
there.
great.
Okay.
Sounds like an awesome massage.
Just telling you the experience.
Yeah. Jumping up and down. How much did she weigh?
I was
How tiny
on
was
my
she?
stomach.
God.
And there was not a hole at the bottom of that table.
Easy, Deshaun. What are you doing over there,
There's
man?
no milking situation
Oh, you're in
happening.
Vietnam. Are you going to get extradited back to Vietnam? Are we learning this?
Dirty-minded people.
How much did she weigh? I love a
She-
good back walking. Like when Teddy
Probably
ball
80
game.
pounds.
She couldn't
Tiny.
have weighed more than 70.
More than
She was
70 pounds.
She
or
was
something.
tiny,
Yeah.
tiny, yeah.
When I was a kid, my dad used to have me walk on his back all the time, and I remember used to think what are we doing here? Why am I doing? Every night.
Really?
He'd lay down on the ground, and be like, "Hey, just jump up and down on my back a couple of times."
And then they make all sorts of moaning, grunting.
always
noises.
like, and you're like, "Are you okay? What is happening right now?" And then eventually you hit an age where you're like, "All right, now I'm too heavy and I can't do this,"
Yeah.
and it causes too much damage and too much pain. The second Teddy ball game gets to 35 pounds. Perfect amount of weight. I can't wait for him to jump around on my back every day.
Yeah. I'd even say even before 35 pounds, it's a good
Just
weight.
anything's delightful.
Just
Kinda
having something,
Get
yeah.
a heel in there a little bit, kind of dig it in, maybe work those
Yes.
kinks out a little
Yes.
bit.
Yes.
I want to do more massages in my adult life, but I don't know why. I haven't quite fully dove in yet.
Well,
I want to do one every couple
they're
of months.
expensive to
They-
do every day or every week or whatever.
I'm not gonna go every
If
week,
you
but I feel
can't-
like doing 3 or 4 a year.
We used to have business with a local one that's near our neck of the woods,
Mhm.
and there's another one that just opened up right down the road from me next to a sushi restaurant. And we went in there the other day, and they have like the facial, the massage, the sauna. God, does your mind go dirty every single time?
I'm just sitting here listening to you talk.
And, they got one of those spa packages, and people, pay to be members at this place, and we just looked at that membership.
What are we talking? What's the price?
Now, I'm near Happy Valley. I'm right on that Happy Valley threshold.
Yeah.
What do you think a membership at this kind of place
Per month,
costs?
per year?
Per month.
Per month, and you get
unlimited massages? What's the
all the
perk?
No,
services?
you get one massage a month. You get one facial. You get they have these leg. I forget what they're called, but you put your legs in them. They're black, and they're supposed to be really good for your leg muscles. You get a sauna, red light therapy. How much do you think
For
that
all
is?
of that, I would say $50 a month.
$50 a month.
Oh,
50
no,
bucks
I'm
a month.
thinking like $195 a month.
Yeah, you're close. It was $700, and I just was like,
Whoa.
What?
dude, the facial by itself was $350.
What are we doing? What's going into that facial? Don't pull that.
Well, they have light, so they give you the facial with the lotions, and then they have the light, and it's supposed to be really good for smoothing your skin out.
That's all a ruse.
Anyways, they have massage places where you can be a member and you get a massage a month.
Yeah.
I have friends and family that did this, and then eventually they stopped using it. And I had somebody in my family that was like, I have 7 massages. And I'm like, yeah, why don't you go use
get a
them?
massage? What are you doing?
But you kind of forget about it.
Yeah, I don't know. The month-to-month thing would be a little too much for me. That's just hard to all right, then it almost becomes like a nuisance of I have to schedule this every month to make sure I'm getting my money's worth because I'm paying for this.
Sure.
But as I get older, that's something I want, every 3 to 4 months going in for a massage, I think would be delightful. And as an adult who constantly deals with back problems and who likes to play golf occasionally in the summer, maybe someday I will again in my life, that could be very, very beneficial.
Now, does your wife like having massages?
She loves it. She just got one the other 2 weeks ago. It was a
really?
birthday present for her, and she went down and got a massage, and I was very jealous. And then that was what sparked the thought for me of it's been a long time since I've had a massage.
Yeah, my wife doesn't.
She didn't like getting them?
No, I think it makes her feel too uncomfortable.
Yeah, I understand that. Somebody rubbing your body.
Well, my wife grew up in a very closed off, traditional Vietnamese house, and so stranger danger and stuff was something she kind of.
Yeah, it's very
her parents
serious.
didn't know, weren't speaking great, perfect English when they were young, and
some random bro walking in and start rubbing you down. It could be a little uncomfortable for some people.
Well, if it was a dude, she's out. She's
out.
not even giving it a chance.
Not even going in there?
Not a chance.
That's good. That's a win right there. You
That-
don't have to
that
worry
is a
about
win,
that.
yeah.
Nobody wants some dude rubbing up their wife. Come on. Don't pull that either.
Boy, there's a lot in this segment.
Don't pull that
you-
either.
I think you enjoy these conversations.
I love them every time.
No, but I'm with you. It's something that I don't think about enough that I wish I did.
Especially when you wake up with a kink in your neck and you can't move your head. I had this on Sunday. Saturday. We both been a little under the weather, and Saturday was like a fever dream for me. I hardly moved at all on Saturday. And I was laying on the couch, basically falling asleep, waking up, watching football, and then falling asleep and waking up essentially all day. But the positions that I was laying in and where the pillows were, I have had back pain all week. But you don't realize it during the day because you're so out of it and you're just sleeping and waking up and sleeping and waking up. And so it didn't really dawn on me until 36 hours later. And now where that pillow was in the top kind of corner of my back, it has been sore all week.
How many pillows do you sleep with?
At nighttime or during that nap time?
No, nighttime.
Nighttime, I'm a one pillow guy.
Same.
One pillow is
And it
all I
has
need.
to be flat.
Flat pillow.
I don't like fluffy.
No.
I can't have my neck above. I think that's what happened. Is I think I slept in a weird spot where my
little
neck
too high.
was above. Yeah,
then you
too
get
high.
Then you get a kink, man. You don't want to be too high when you're sleeping.
My wife sleeps with 3 pillows.
That's too much. My
2
wife
for her
does the same.
head, 1 in her like in between her stomach and her legs, is wrapped around. I'm like, what? I thought I was the pillow for that.
Yeah, I should be that guy.
So yeah, it's just it's weird how she can sleep with 3, I can sleep with 1.
Yeah, I used to try and do the 2 pillow thing, but then when it stacks up too high, then I get uncomfortable. It's also hard to find the right pillow.
But I used to like to.
You used to like to?
I used to, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a one guy.
Yeah, I'm I could just lay on the ground and just be completely content with everything that's happening in that situation.
Just on a hard surface. That's what you're going to do when you get home today. You're going to go lay on a hardwood floor and it's going to feel delightful.
Well, no, what I'm going to do is I'm going to YouTube getting knots, and there's these videos on YouTube where they'll show you bend your arm this way.
Self
look
knot
to your
release.
Right. Yeah, it's like it is. It's like how to release knots out of your bad sleeping
Well,
situations.
I want a full report back to see if that actually works because I don't know if I buy it.
Well, I don't know if it'll work,
You
but
try it out on YouTube.
it's supposed to help, you know.
The YouTube comments say this is great. This is delightful.
I'll tell you, YouTube is great. I'm glad we're on YouTube as a station. I go to YouTube the way that people go to WebMD or Google now.
to Google illnesses.
Yeah, 100%.
Hey, what is this that I'm coughing up right now?
How do I do this?
How do I get rid of this problem in my life?
I
They say
did it
beer
this
is
way.
a natural muscle relaxer.
Hey, there you go.
I
Pound a couple of cold ones.
yeah, maybe a bad Santa.
That
Sure.
sounds delightful.
Ho ho ho.
We're on. This is our last show for a while today together.
It is a weird show that way.
It is.
Yeah.
Usually
We're off
when
till
it's
next Friday.
our last show, it's like that's it. I'll see you next year, kind of thing. But that's not going to be the case.
No,
we're
the
coming back for the playoffs.
expanded playoff has thrown a wrinkle into setting up the vacation schedule.
Yes.
Are you in tomorrow?
I'm in. The only time I will be in the rest of the way, all the times we have live shows until after Christmas when I travel with the pilots.
How many games in that span are you calling and then coming in and working?
Just 2.
Oh my God!
Just 2
Who's
left
filling
for the
in
rest
for
of
us
the year.
during that?
We got it'll be Schultze and Will tomorrow.
No, but when you're doing the games.
It'll be Will's got 2 of them, and
I'll have to text him
Schultz
and
has
tell
1.
him to be ready.
Hey, he's ready. Pilot
He
swag's
doesn't know
coming
what
in.
pilot swag is.
Hopefully the
next day.
Kangaroos don't get him the morning after. You know. You gotta
Oh,
be,
dude,
you
they're not
gotta-
even going to lose. He's just going to be miserable because it'll be 5 a.m. Like, Will, anything you need, get it yourself.
You gotta have your head on a swivel.
Oh no, next week. No, I see what you're saying. No, it'll be Luke for both of them.
Yeah, I'll text Luke. Luke, be ready mentally.
Heads up, Luke.
Yeah, heads up on that
This is
one.
what's coming your way, buddy.
So yeah, this is
yeah,
our
they're
last
both
one
7
this
o'clock
week.
tips too.
Oh God.
Why are you doing that?
Yeah,
I don't know why you do that.
That sounds horrible.
It just
Well,
doesn't make any sense.
Get home at 10.
Dude,
not
you
bad.
play it out on the air like it. You act like it sounds reasonable. Oh, get home at 10, fall asleep by 11, wake up at 3:55.
I'll get up at 4:30.
Oh God.
That still sounds
Oh,
terrible.
Sounds absolutely awful.
And then
Took
you
a- I
produce a
took a nap,
show.
but
And
you get a nap later in the day.
you get an old man.
do you know
swag
how
nap.
old you are? I don't think you know how old you are sometimes. I think
What do
you
you mean?
think you're 41. That's just not the case. The turn and burn, not great. Are you okay over there?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm still coughing.
Okay, all right, great.
We're battling through.
We're battling through. It is our last show until next Friday.
Right.
This is it. And we got Friday and then Monday. We're going to do wraparound shows for the playoff games next week.
Had the Ducks lost, we would have been on next Thursday, Friday.
yeah,
Yeah,
as
there
a
would've been
lead-in.
bit more lead up.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
again, the playoffs making all of this stuff kind of weird. So we got a lot to get to today. It is a loaded show.
All right, question.
Yes.
Are we going to Sprague the line for this weekend today?
I didn't know. He tweeted we were. I had no idea. He didn't communicate that.
What, do we want to just text our picks then tomorrow and then tweet them out? That's not the same. Then we can't do sponsors. I figured this is our last show of the week.
That's
We
up
gotta
to
do-
you guys because you're both out. If one of you was out, then okay, but you're
Could we
both
do
out.
this? Could we? Because I didn't do any. I've been eyeing things. I don't know if I have picks. Maybe we read sponsors and then just talk out like how we're feeling.
Yeah, we could do that.
Make
Okay.
fun of each other a little
I might
bit.
have a pick in tonight's game for Sprague in the line.
Really?
Hey.
Okay.
That line got to 3.
It did.
It's at 2.5 right now on DraftKings.
Did it drop down to 2.5 locally?
2.5. Yes,
It was on
It
3
was
yesterday.
at least when I checked this morning when I wrote my scripts.
The weird one is it opened at 6.5 and then immediately got bet down,
Yes.
which was odd.
Very odd.
Couldn't believe it opened that high.
Was there a significant injury
Not that I
update
saw.
that
I looked up. I was like, what?
I mean, we
this
already
makes no
knew
sense.
all the main running backs are out. It looks like
Guarendo's going to play. It
he's
sounds
gonna
like that was
go.
the only one that I was.
But I don't
people
know
were
that
waiting
moves
on.
a line 3 points.
Look,
No.
the Rams certainly should win this game, but go look at the Shanahan McVay stuff. He kind of owns him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of a weird thing. And the one game he didn't own him, he didn't win the Super Bowl.
No.
This
Or
really
Kyle Shanahan and him.
comes down to can the Niners cover Kupp and Puka? That's pretty much it.
No, they
Although
can't.
Kyron Williams torched him in the first game.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. That first game was interesting because the Niners dominated it, and
They
then they
did.
blew
Yeah,
it,
then
and
they
then the
blew it.
Rams won it.
Yep.
So
It's kind of the story of the 49ers year this year. Let's build a 2-touchdown lead and then let it slip away in the fourth quarter.
It
And if
really
we didn't do
is.
that, we'd be in first place in the NFC West.
well, we have a loaded show today. George Ryer, who we were supposed to have on Tuesday, and then our phones didn't work. He's going to be
Yes.
on today. We're going to try it again. George
Yes.
Ryer at 8 a.m. I want to ask him how he feels and reacts to these Ducks versus them videos that your alma mater tweets out. I think people lose their collective S over them.
Yeah, that one everybody was waiting on all week.
Yes.
Came out a little bit later than normal, and it was well worth the wait.
I pulled a couple cuts from it that we'll get to, the pre and the post. So we'll get to that today. There is a lot to talk about. Let's get it going. Dirt and Sprague, good to be with you on this Thursday on 1080 The Fan.
This game been your ear for a minute. Quit complaining about.
This is Dirt and Sprague on 1080 The Fan.
Well, were you cup checking yesterday?
I did cup check yesterday.
Why did you cup check yesterday and not the day before?
Because you were angry with me yesterday for not watching the cup.
I was angry with you?
Yeah, you were all angry yesterday.
I
You're
was
all
a little
butthurt
surprised.
over there. Why didn't you watch the cup? It's your baby. You guys are supposed to care about this. It's all make believe, but let's care.
Okay, let me ask you this.
The games are entertaining.
Do you feel like they're playing like they care about those games?
Yes.
Was that a takeaway you had yesterday?
Yeah, I mean,
They care more than a normal regular season
I wouldn't say
game
it's like
in
an
December.
NBA Finals game, but they care more than a
Well,
regular season game, sure.
Yeah.
I just let me get it out of the way first, then we can talk about the games, so we can get to it. Steve Kerr's going to get fined a lot of money and all that. Knicks court, fine, whatever. The orange.
Look,
I'm not.
my TV was broken.
I'm not in love with it compared to what the situation is in Houston. I mean, what am I watching? An
I don't
Eastern
know.
Washington football game? Bright red?
bright orange versus bright red. There's
That
a big difference
Knicks
there.
floor, I thought it was some weird
I did
set
too.
for Dune or something.
Yeah.
I didn't know what was going on.
I'm with you there. It
I
felt
just
weird.
every time I turn a game on, I'm like, I know I'm supposed to. It's supposed to mean more. This is SEC football, and then I have like a 10-minute period where I can't take it seriously because the courts are so stupid, and then I try and enjoy the basketball.
Trey Young being a villain to New York. I hope that lasts his entire career.
It's very entertaining to watch him shut that crowd up.
He also
Over and
looks
over and
like
over
a troll.
again.
I mean, he quite literally looks
does.
like a troll.
There was a stat floating around last night that was pretty wild that their record against like the top 4 teams in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, they've beaten the Celtics, the Cavs, the
Beat 'em all.
Knicks. Yeah.
And then against everybody else, they're below 500.
I blue skied this to Gundy last night. Why are the Hawks the team? And you could fill this in with whoever. Why are the Hawks the team that always beats your team, but they're never good?
That's an interesting theory.
Like, you watch them play, right? Like, most people don't watch Atlanta Hawks NBA League Pass, correct?
No.
Okay. You watch them when they play your team, and you look around and you're like, good Lord, there's length and athleticism and Trey Young, and damn it, they've beaten me with Sally, Jesse, Raphael on the sideline.
Yes, they did.
But then you look at her standing and their record, and you're like, they're not good.
They're 2 games above 500 this year.
Why do they always beat my team?
Yeah, it's really
but
weird.
they're never a good team.
It's got to make it very frustrating if you're like for the 17 Atlanta Hawks fans that exist of like, why can't we just do that more often?
Hawks fans are not real. I've talked to people in Atlanta.
They
He's
don't
like,
care.
Dude, even the ones wearing Hawks jerseys, they don't care.
No, it's
They don't
not.
care.
The NBA is not big down. The same with like Charlotte. Nobody cares about the Hornets in Charlotte. They're just 2 irrelevant franchises in their own city. But for like the 17 of them that do exist, that's got to be really frustrating. Like I see you consistently beat good teams.
Right.
You're like 8-1 or 9-1 against the best teams in the Eastern Conference.
Yes.
And you're 14-12 on the year.
I don't get it.
Just a slight increase in care for the bad games that you're playing, and you'd be the number 1 seed, or not? Probably not, because Cleveland's great this year.
Yeah.
But maybe the 2 or 3 seed in the Eastern Conference. But you're 14-12 instead because you don't take anybody else seriously.
The other side of that, I got 2 takeaways last night. So Steve Kerr was hot and bothered
He
last night.
was. Cup
I got
takeaways.
the whole minute 50 rant if you want.
I don't know if I want to play 2 minutes of that, but
Was he
yeah.
right, though?
Yes.
You guys didn't think that was a foul?
No.
Rolling around on the ground, grabbing an arm?
No. Not.
80 feet away.
Well, what do you do there? Because you can't call a jump ball.
Yeah.
Give him the timeout. He had possession
Well,
of it.
I don't disagree necessarily with that take.
Give
That's
him
a,
the
that's a good
timeout.
reasonable take.
They had possession. They got it. Give him the timeout.
Well, how much time? What was there? Like
3.2
yeah,
seconds.
hardly
or
anything
something?
left
Yeah.
when they called the foul.
I don't know. I see why he said it, but I also watched that replay, and if you're not going to give the timeout, that's a foul.
Yeah.
He reached over the shoulder, but his hand was on the ball.
I disagree with that. I thought he grabbed most of his arm.
No, his hand was on the ball, and he just reached over the
You
shoulder.
know what? You're out of here. You've been teed
Get
up.
out. Get him
of
out.
here. Why
Get him
don't you
out.
Go home.
You're
Go
gone.
get some sleep.
Get out.
I thought it was a foul.
You're going to get fined, too. We're all going to get fined by the NBA now, too.
Well,
Bring it
even
on,
if it
Steve.
was a foul, how many other NBA games of the thousands that you've seen have you seen that call been made?
A guy rolling around on the ground with another guy? I've seen that foul a million
No,
times.
at that point in three. How many times, how many years have we talked about refs just swallow their whistle? They don't want to be the ones to decide it, especially
With 3 seconds to go in a 1-score
like
game
Kennedy.
or a 1-point
we
game.
may disagree whether that's a foul or not. That's okay. I think what we will agree on is they clearly were calling timeout.
Yes,
Call
they were.
timeout.
Yeah, that's the
He
that's
called
the
timeout.
issue.
His
These refs-
teammate was calling timeout
these
right
refs-
there.
Everybody's trying to call timeout.
refs
They
let
bailed
them-
the refs out.
Well,
he had possession first before the was it Kuminga that came in?
I think it was Kuminga that came in.
Yeah.
Brooks was clearly calling time.
Yes.
Green's on the ground
all the
screaming.
officials
timeout,
froze,
timeout.
and then they panicked and blew the whistle because they had to call something.
I don't get it.
Give
I
him a
don't
couple
get
of
it
free
either.
throws.
Now,
I would have been as hot as Kerr.
sure. And you know why he was hot? Because he doesn't get to go to Vegas.
That's
he was
right.
cup checking last night.
He
Kerr was
wanted to
cup
win,
checking.
wanted to win the cup.
There's 2 observation takeaways. Houston, they're a fun story. They've got a young athletic team with a villain, Dylan the villain. Clearly, with no all-star on that roster, do you think if you switched Chauncey Billups and Emeka Udoka, the local prodigy? Ime, thank you. Do you think if you put him in Portland and put Chauncey in Houston, Houston would be the 3 seed?
No.
Okay, so whatever you think that difference is, that's what the difference in good coaching is.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that was a big takeaway for me.
Yeah.
They've had a great year. You can argue with me, oh, look at the roster, Sprague, they're so much better. Okay, well, that's kind of a shot at your own franchise then.
Yeah, they had a slight lead into the tank, I'll say. They were a year or two ahead of us.
Whatever the difference between what you think those teams would be if we switched coaches, that's the difference in good coaching.
Yeah.
Okay? The other takeaway I had is the Warriors are involved in the Jimmy Butler sweepstakes.
They are.
That came out yesterday.
And then his agent said, no, he's not going to get traded, but that he is going to get traded.
The Heat will trade him if they can get a good package. They play like 11 to 12 guys a night, and there's a reason they're doing that. They're showcasing players so they can go get a Jimmy Butler.
Who do you want? Who do you want in our lineup? Look at all these guys that can play.
Minus Curry and Draymond, they're all available.
Pick and choose your poison. It was kind of a fun. It was a fun throwback game. You don't get a lot of games like that in the modern NBA that are just ugly, defensive, kind of low scoring. It was an interesting change of pace for me to watch that.
We
one.
had that the night before with Milwaukee and Orlando.
I wouldn't watch that one too closely, so
Okay.
Hey, I'm reacting to the games I'm watching here. Okay, I'm reacting to the
rude.
games. Yeah,
You
he
what?
was getting
I was
rude.
getting
We
rude.
weren't
Yeah, you
watching
were
that.
getting
We've already
rude
been
there.
over that.
That one.
Nobody was watching that. Nobody cares.
God.
But last night, ugly defensive, low scoring. It was a nice change of pace.
It was a nice change of pace,
You
but
just-
I kind of expected it.
Yeah, you're used to just watching I mean, not that they didn't jack up a ton of threes and neither team could make a shot, it felt like, to save their life. So that was definitely a part of it. Seeing the ending be controversial was solid for the NBA, although they're not thrilled, I'm sure, with the outcomes of the games.
Oh, I couldn't disagree more with what the league wanted or didn't want. I actually think they got a great semifinal cup situation in Vegas.
Okay. Better than the Warriors and Knicks being there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because you got Hawks, who at any one point can be the best team in the NBA for some reason, but always kind of be disappointing,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then in the other side, you've got OKC and Houston.
Yeah.
And Houston is kind of what OKC was 2 years ago, maybe a year ago.
Oh, I think the Thunder are going to beat them by like 17.
Yeah,
I
but
think
Houston will fight them.
They'll fight them.
You know what I mean? They'll want to fight them.
Because they got a Dylan Brooks on their team.
Well, yeah, they do. But the whole team kind of rallies around that identity.
That whole game is about how the Thunder go about defending Şengün. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Well, Ernie said that we've been saying his name
yeah,
wrong.
I know.
I wasn't even
going
going to try this morning, to be honest with you.
Well, he played it out loud, and then he said it, and I instantly forgot it.
Because everybody on the broadcast has been saying Şengün.
Yeah, and he says
and he
it
said
himself.
it's Şengün or
Şengün.
something like
Şengün?
that.
Şengün. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the Thibodeau.
Exactly.
He says his own name wrong. Did you
But
know
Ernie
that?
did what I would have done and gone to the NBA pronunciation guide, which has the player actually saying his name.
Hooked on phonics style. Let's sound
Exactly.
this thing out syllable by syllable.
So you don't think the league is excited to have...
No, I don't think so at all. I think you're absolutely in a bubble on that one.
They are praying for Warriors.
Saying that the
Bucks.
Rockets being there over the Warriors is good for the NBA.
Or they were that.
No,
I
I
guess
think
Warriors
it's a
aren't
better
there, but
game.
I mean, you might be right that
it's
it's
a better game.
It might be a better game.
Thunder
I'm not
Bucks
disagreeing with that.
Could
but
be fun.
Do we want a better game in that league, or do we just want, like, the name we know?
I mean,
That's
you know the
been
answer
the
to
problem
that.
with the league
Well, we don't
since
do
the
this in the
Lakers and
NFL.
Celtics in the 80s.
Well, nothing
We don't
matters
do
in the
this in the NFL.
Nothing matters in the NFL.
No.
We do it in baseball.
We don't do this in college
'Cause
football.
The NFL was able to center its marketing around teams and brands and legacy and that, and the NBA went to the individual stars, and then when most of the stars started moving around all the
Shot
time,
themselves in the foot is what you're saying.
Pretty
That's what they
much.
did.
Damn it.
I mean, for the league, it would be much better to have the Warriors and Knicks in the Vegas semifinal games.
the Bucks are
Atlanta.
fine.
Not even
you're
close.
gonna get a lot of bucks in whatever they're promoting there. It's gonna be a lot of Giannis and Dame.
Yeah, it is. Dame might win a cup.
He could get a cup, bring a cup home.
Finally gets that trophy, that
That's-
illustrious trophy he's been escaping him his whole life.
Waiting for one his entire career.
I feel like I'm the only one really excited about this.
Yeah, you kind of are. But I'm playing
no,
along
I was
as good as I can.
I was cup checking all
Trying.
night long. I kind of got once the Knicks started folding. I kind of that's when I went and figured out dinner and a couple other things.
Dirt's
yeah,
giving
Atlanta
me-
pulled away in the end of that game.
Dirt's giving me a lot of what I do in baseball season, like where Dirt's maybe excited about something.
Hey, did you
that
see this
happened,
guy?
and I'm like,
Did you-
yeah, that was good.
That was great.
And then he stops talking, and he's just left out there on an island.
Yeah.
I just leave him alone.
You got anything else on the cup you want to get to? Is that it? Are we all cupped out?
Well, I hate that Jimmy Butler trade talk's kind of attached to my cup talk.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of the way we're working.
But you can hear both semifinal games on the Fan this Saturday.
Look at us,
1
the home of the NBA Cup ratings bonanza.
All right, well, I was going to do a poll question on the cup, but your guys' lack of enthusiasm has
What's
left
the poll
me.
question?
What?
Are you watching? Do you care?
I'm not as
I just think
enthusiastic, but I am
think
following.
Houston and OKC is clearly the better game. It's
I don't.
clearly the better game.
Oh, I think Houston's going to get run out of the building.
You don't think Golden State would?
No, I think Golden State would find a way to.
Why? Because Curry?
Yeah.
Have you watched Curry this year at all?
He did clank a big 3 last night.
He did clank
He's
a big
had a
three,
little
but
bit of an up and down year.
Led to the foul. That was a good look too.
What am I even talking about this for? You know what? Let's just move on. Let's get to football.
Hey, sounds great. What do you want to talk about?
Bill Belichick.
Yes!
He's back in our lives.
Let's do it.
Let's get it next. But first, swag with the sports update.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Brought to you by A&E Plumbing, Heating, and Air, serving Portland, Southwest Washington, and the Gorge, online at aneheatingandcooling.com. It's hard to stop a train. First on the Fan, Week 15 of the NFL season will begin in the Bay. 49ers looking for a little revenge against the Rams, who rallied from a 2-touchdown deficit for a 27-24 victory in their first meeting of the season, Week 3, behind 3 touchdowns from Kyron Williams. Kick at 5:15 on Prime Video. Niners 2.5-point favorites. The entire football world still scratching their collective heads over the 5-year deal that will bring Bill Belichick to Chapel Hill as the new head football coach of the North Carolina Tar Heels. It appears Rich Rodriguez's career is about to come full circle. The reports are he's expected to take the head coaching vacancy at West Virginia after leading Jacksonville State to a conference championship this past season. Rich Rod coached the Mountaineers from 2001 to 2007. A controversial foul call with 3 seconds left in the game allowed Jalen Green to make 2 free throws and ended the Houston Rockets' 15-game losing streak to the Warriors, earning a trip to Vegas to face the Thunder in the NBA Emirates Cup semifinals, 91-90 the final. Hawks' second-half rally at Madison Square Garden left the Knicks behind 108-100, and Atlanta will face the Bucks in the other semi this Saturday in Vegas. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Jason Swigart from the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand at the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Got a smart speaker? It's the Fan in your office and every room of your home. Tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
hallelujah, it's Friday, 'cause I've been working all week.
This is Dirt and Sprague on 1080 The Fan.
Well, I've got two forms of evidence. On one hand, I've got Danny Meringue demanding more Cup talk.
Okay.
On the other hand, I posted a poll question. Are you excited for the Cup semis between Bucks Hawks and Thunder Rockets? Yes. Cup checking, no. Or shut up, Sprague. Right out, no is winning with 75% of the vote. Shut up, Sprague has 25%. So that does leave 0% of people.
Excited for the Cup. Let's go Cup, baby.
Okay.
Cool floors, though. The floors, yeah, cool.
No, they're not.
Cool floors.
I've admitted that's terrible.
Way to go, NBA.
They need to fix that.
Knock that one out of the park.
They're not going to fix it. He thinks that's some way to get people excited. By the way, who had the worst Tuesday? We're doing this on a Thursday.
Yes.
I won that as well because I watched the NBA Cup.
You did, yeah.
Swag got 69'd by Kangaroos.
Yes, he did.
And people were wondering what that really meant. And he still didn't win that poll question.
That still did not take it over watching the NBA Cup.
Sometimes we assign a little homework on this show.
You got to figure that one out on your own.
Sometimes.
I can't wait for baseball to create their version of the Cup.
Yeah, they'll come up with something
theirs
stupid.
only goes-
Manfred will do something dumb. I mean, he's an idiot.
Oh, he's doing the golden at bat, so that's already stupid.
Well, I already got that.
Well, he came back and said it's a long ways from he's backtracked.
I mean, this is kind of the.
That's what baseball does, though. They float something crazy
they
out
do.
there way
We might do this. I would argue this was the start, and we can still laugh at it, and not many people care that deeply about it. The World Baseball Classic is a little bit of this.
Yeah, but that's only every 4 years.
Yeah,
it's only every 4. I know it's every 4 years.
The NHL's doing that this year with the Four Nations Cup.
Four Nations Cup. Yes,
we got a puck cup check.
I want
Gotta
to
be
just
careful there.
Yeah, you do. You got to say that slowly.
Very sound that one out.
Sound
it out.
I do want to just for the record say it before it happens at some point in our lives. Everybody bagging the golden at bat is going to like it when their team benefits from it.
Oh, there'll be some moment in the game where Ohtani gets a second at bat and hits a walk off. This is so cool.
The Mariners are going to win with a golden at bat.
Who's going to be the first player to himself go back to backyard in a game?
Oh,
you could do that, yeah. Touche.
That's a good point.
You hit a bomb, hey, go do it again. You're feeling good, especially if the pitcher has not faced his 3-batter minimum yet. He's got to go face you again. You just hit a bomb off him. Go do it again.
I mean, is the golden at bat really going to feel any different than how people felt about the DH when it was introduced? Because the idea of that rule is kind of stupid.
I mean, it just kind of yes, it is.
Hey, this guy, he's only throwing. He's not good at hitting, so we're going to have another guy hit for him because he's bad at it.
I mean, look, you're not wrong. It was a fundamental change in the sport of baseball.
I'm just saying.
In that regard, but like now we're just rewriting the batting order whenever we want to in a big game because we want our guy to get another at bat.
I think the name also makes it sound even more childish and gimmicky.
Yeah, it sounds like a video. It sounds like a video.
It's a
game.
Willy Wonka ticket.
Yeah.
I got a golden ticket.
Sounds like a musical number you do in a baseball play. and he's
It's
coming
like Harry
up
Potter
with
the golden. What is it? That's the
golden snitch.
Yeah.
Catch
Harry
in
Potter.
In Quidditch. Yeah. I don't know if this would help, and maybe I'm just nothing might help it for me and from an entertainment value and actually caring about it. But I do wonder if and they would never do it because this is the time of year that they want to cut through because they're not getting a lot of attention early in the season. They feel like this generates conversation. And look, it does. We've talked more NBA in the last 2 days than we have, I feel like, in the last month on this show. Sans Blazers. So there is an aspect of it that is succeeding for them.
If I wasn't here with you, I don't think
I wouldn't do a second on it.
This.
I wouldn't watch it.
Okay.
I wouldn't pay attention to it. I only watched it last night because you shamed me on the show yesterday.
I'm ruining our audience
you
right now.
You shoved me into a locker on the show yesterday, and I'm like, fine, I'll watch the Cup, dude. Let it go. It's okay.
People are
Don't
choosing
worry.
to get angry about political radio
They
right now
are.
instead of listening to NBA
Flipping
Cup
over
Check
to hear
Talk.
about tariffs. But I do wonder if you had it at a time where you're not going head-to-head with all of the other things currently going on, that if it would generate more interest. Probably not for me, but, if I put it...
Oh, no, actually, I think right now, because, one, you don't want to do it too late in the season. They have the All-Star festivities in February. January...
what if you did it around the All-Star break?
Well, can I counter real quick?
Yeah.
I didn't want this whole segment to be fixed
We're
the
doing
NBA.
now back-to-back Cup segments.
Well,
Look
hold
at
on.
you.
What if I took your idea? You're not wrong, but, what if I took his idea? Because it's hard to break through right now during
Well,
football,
I have
right?
a whole revolutionary plan.
Well, so here's my plan. I still maintain 7, 8 seeds and all the other bad teams, same lottery odds. You don't want to be bad? Stop putting a crap product out. Make your fans care.
Yeah.
Try. Okay? Once you establish your 7, 8 seeds in both conferences, you do an interchangeable NBA Cup format, but you're dictating seeding, one and dones, and now you're dictating seeding
For the NBA playoffs?
for the NBA playoffs, 1 through 16. We're getting
Single
rid of
elimination, or do I still have
Single
point
elimination.
differentials and group play and
You
all
can
that
do
crap?
point differentials to separate it. Yeah.
I don't want that. Give me single elimination to decide it, and I'm on board with your idea.
Okay. Well,
Like the winner of the NBA Cup gets the 1 seed, the loser, the second place team gets the 2 seed,
Yeah.
so on and so forth.
Yeah.
I'd be all for that.
Okay.
It'd be more entertaining because then there'd be something tangible on the line
There
for the
is.
fan bases.
Right.
Instead of, money and a trophy that literally means nothing.
Yeah, the Mavericks got a week off by losing last night.
Yeah. I'd rather have a week off if I were an NBA
Than 100
player.
Gs?
Yes.
Yeah.
If I'm making $50 million a year, what's another 100 G's? I could go to Mexico for a week in the middle of the season. This isn't even their all-star break. They just get a week off.
Bill Belichick is back in our lives, guys. It's official.
That it is.
Yeah, I'm still in a little bit of disbelief that this actually
You're still
happened.
processing.
Yeah.
Really?
I am a little bit too, to be honest with you.
Okay, so what does this say to you guys? Did he choose this, or does he know the NFL doesn't want him anymore?
No, this is simply about him not wanting to be done coaching.
Yeah, but is he doing this because he knows the NFL ain't calling his number? They didn't call it last year. He came
They did
close,
not.
but they didn't call his number.
I think that's a part of it. Yeah.
I also wondered, too, how much of it, and look, we'll never know because none of us know Bill Belichick, but the whole debate about him in coaching circles has been how much control do you give him, and is he going to want everything? He did at the end of New England, and it was a disaster. He hired Matt Patricia to be his offensive coordinator. Like, it was a dumpster fire the last couple of years, but if he's going to come into an NFL organization and say, I want player personnel decisions. I want to be the GM. I want to run the draft. I'm going to do all the hiring. Like, I'm going to handle everything. I understand why NFL teams are balking at it. I've never known specifically if that's what he's asking for or if he's come down and said, hey, just let me coach and we can work together with a general manager. This was a bit of a, to me, he's going to have total control at North Carolina. Every decision is the head coaches in college football. Who do we offer scholarships to? How much money are we giving guys? Like, all of that comes down to one person and one person only. And I know Lombardi's going to be his GM. That was the other takeaway I had, is maybe it was always about total control for him.
Yeah.
And he feels like he has better total control at the college level now than he does at the NFL level.
Let's. I delayed it, so I apologize for that. Let's get into this Bill Belichick thing at UNC. It's very interesting. I had some reactions from people in the sports media industry I was not prepared for, and I started debating about, is Bill Belichick at UNC a threat? I'm just going to throw this at any football fan base out there right now. If you're a Husky fan, a Duck fan, a Beaver fan, whoever you are, do you now suddenly get nervous that Bill Belichick is in college? I want to revisit something somebody told us last week on the show, and also something somebody told us yesterday on the show about this. So we'll get to all that coming up next. Bill Belichick back in football, but in college. How we feel about that. Let's talk about it next on The Fan.
when the road gets dark.
This is Dirt and Sprague on 1080 The Fan.
You can no longer
Get to some
see
CFB stuff. We got Thursday Night Football. We'll do an altered version of Sprague and Line today at 8:30. George Ryer at 8. We have a lot to get to today. I delayed our Belichick stuff a little bit, so I apologize for that. But Bill Belichick officially announced as the North Carolina head coach. Poll question, should the CFB powerhouses be scared of Belichick going to UNC? LMAO, no, good luck heels. Or yes, we'll outsmart folks. And I saw so many differing opinions on this of, Belichick in the last minute and a half of a game against a random ACC coach is going to be hilarious how much he outsmarts him.
Yeah, he could coach against Mario Cristobal in a conference game.
Boy, time management in a tie game. I may give Belichick that nod, but I also saw the other side of it of, good luck. Your personality is gonna win over high school, college kids. Okay,
I'm curious how they plan to go acquire a roster full of 5-star talent like Ohio State, Alabama, Oregon, Georgia. Because
I don't think they're in that running. I think they know who they are. Oregon just got to that party.
No, I know.
And
it
this
takes
is their
a long
first year
time
doing
and a
it.
lot of money and a lot of resources and a lot of people. It's not a one-man thing.
Right.
Here, the argument that they would make is, and I don't believe any of this because I think you have to be naive to believe it, but the argument that they're trying to make, if you're pro this hire and you think it's going to be great, and oh my God, look out for North Carolina, is that when you get the House settlement, you're going to have a allotted amount of money that you can spend on your roster. And it's going to be about $20 million a year. Every team's going to have the capabilities to spend upwards of $20 million. You don't have to spend all of it, but there's going to be a cap on how much schools can pay their players. Now, do we believe that that's the only way players are going to get paid?
That's the school.
Right? So that their argument would be, okay, everybody's going to be operating in this structure, and there's only going to be a certain amount of resources to go around. And so then it will come down to managing your money, offering the right players, finding diamonds in the rough, talent evaluation, right? All of those kind of things that they say, hey, we can hang our hat on. We did this for 20 years in the NFL. We're going to be able to do it at the college level. Now, I don't believe any of that, but that would be their argument of why this ultimately ends up working out.
I don't know if the rules on the transfer portal don't change significantly. If you don't have flat-out contracts with players, there's no collective bargaining agreement, which they're trying to avoid.
Yes, that is not going to be a part of this.
And you still have 18 to 21-year-old guys who are not yet, quote, professional and emotionally mature. If they don't feel like they're getting theirs, I'm out of here.
I don't care who your head coach is.
I don't care who the head coach is.
Yeah.
They're not mature enough to see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's a limited window. You only have 5 years of eligibility. I need to play is the mentality. And if they're not, I'm very curious to see how it all comes together because it's not just Bill's name on the door changes everything.
Well, no, because also when that House settlement gets solved, is he still going to be there?
I mean, there's hope that it's going to get settled at some point this spring. They're thinking it's going to happen at some point in the near future.
Expecting to have
Is he there longer than a year? He's 72, going to be 73.
But his new girlfriend's a grad student, so
well, she's also reportedly in the running to run the cheerleading department.
You're damn right.
She's already followed cheerleaders on Instagram.
There we go.
We know he's probably going to be poaching his son from UW, so we'll keep an eye on that.
Have you seen the details on that, by the way, on that contract? So nothing's been announced yet, and Jed Fish was asked, hey, are there any coaching changes before the bowl game? And he said, no, I don't anticipate any. You know why? Because they signed him to a deal where his buyout goes away on January 1st. So at some point on New Year's Day, we look forward to the announcement that Steve Belichick is going to North Carolina.
So we know what this is going to turn. Patricia's going to be there. You mentioned Lombardi, who we worked with for years, is going to be the general manager. I've just been surprised. I don't know. I'm willing to sit in the side of nothing about his last 2 years at New England. Nothing about his roster building in draft and or free agency at the end of the Brady era. Nothing about that screamed to me that this guy is still elite. Does he know ball? Absolutely.
Of course he does.
He shows his brilliance every week on the Manning Cast, on the McAfee Show. This dude knows football. But connecting, building culture, those are elements that I think is very fair to say he has not shown that ability anymore. And oh, by the way, please point me the direction of the 72 and 73-year-old coach who still dominates. I'll wait. That list ain't very long. And I was surprised how many people still hold him in a regard that this is a mistake for NFL teams not to hire him. College programs should be quivering, comping him to Dion. I'll be willing to say that I'm wrong if I am. I have not understood this like allure of this, if he is still the 2014 Bill Belichick that picked off Russell Wilson at the goal line.
Right, Malcolm Butler identified the play.
Dude, when Tom Brady threw the pick
ago.
6 his last year, I was kind of checked out at that point. I have not been very impressed with him, and I don't blame teams for not giving him this run. And so, I largely don't think this is going to do anything for North Carolina.
Yeah, it's funny, too, because in all those things you pointed to when trying to succeed in the NFL is a league where everybody is on, to a relative point, similar footing. Like, some owners have more money to spend than others. Some have more cash in hand than others. But there's a salary cap.
There's also
draft picks.
Player distribution.
Yes.
To try to evenly...
Like, everybody's got a puncher's shot in the NFL. Yeah. Some have an easier pathway than others, but everybody's got a seat at the table, if you will. Not the way college football's worked, nor will it ever work. No. There are haves and there are have-nots. And I don't think North Carolina will ever be a have. I think the first question I have is, will it work? What does success for Bill Belichick look like at North Carolina for you? Because that would be like
what Mac Brown did, sadly.
Yeah, and so that's what, can Bill Belichick do that? Of course he can. He's in the AC. The ACC sucks, dude. SMU just went in there in year one and went undefeated in conference play. Mm-hmm. Now, they didn't play Clemson or Miami in the regular season. They lost to Clemson in the title game. The ACC's not a good conference.
They could win a conference.
Can they get to 8 or 9 wins?
Every,
of course they could. But is he going to, have Texas and Ohio State and Georgia and Oregon shaking in their boots?
So you guys are giving him a real shot to win this conference.
I mean, SMU just came a play away from doing it in their first year. They came from the American Athletic Conference.
I could see him every couple, 3 years doing it.
I don't know how long he's going to be there.
More with both those
to your point, I don't know how long he's going to be there. But can a 9 Clemson just won the conference? They were 9-3 this year.
Yeah,
Mac Brown had multiple 9-win seasons when he was in North Carolina. So I think he could do that. I don't think it's impossible to ask him to do that, but if there are people who think he's going to win a national championship in North Carolina,
I haven't seen that take.
That stuff is lunacy.
But you think he makes a playoff?
I think he could
because of the expanded playoff. Maybe
I could see. I'm very curious. Again, this is going
to.
They're
going to out-recruit SMU, Miami.
I mean, SMU's not a high recruiter.
Well, no, but SMU has money. They can get the right guys in the portal.
Yeah.
I mean, look, even Florida State, who had a very awful season, and I'm not saying Norvell's a better coach. No way. What I'm saying, though, is the way college operates, you think that guy who hasn't had college experience in, 50 years, you think that guy's going to get into this version of college football and outdo what Miami has now established with Cristobal? Even though Dabo won't hit the portal, he's still recruiting at a top 25 level. SMU has oil money. And Florida State has just stolen coaches left and right this offseason and said, we're not going to be 2-win Florida. You think he's going to outdo that in the first 2 years?
I don't know about the first 2 years.
I think a 3-year deal.
Yeah, the question comes.
It's a 5-year deal.
Yeah,
I think it's 3 guaranteed of 30, right?
I think by year 3, yes.
You think he's going to be there 3 years?
Yeah.
That I don't know.
I don't know if this is just let me get my kid a gig.
Very well could be.
Let my girlfriend run a cheerleading department, and I'm going to right a ship and win 8 games and ride off the sunset.
The way that I don't look at any, Miami is recruited at a high level. Their recruiting class slipped pretty significantly from where they've been this year compared to the last 2 years. I think they were outside the top 10, if I'm not mistaken, this year. Georgia Tech had the second best recruiting class in the ACC this year.
Yeah, and they're in Atlanta.
And they are. They had 6 blue chip recruits. That total of 6 guys. That's what they signed. Florida State just signed Castellanos to be their quarterback who got benched at Boston College this year, and that program is 1 more year away from firing Mike Norvell. Dabo Swinney will not take anybody in the portal. They got very fortunate to win the ACC. I don't even think they were the best team necessarily in the ACC. SMU was there in year 1. My argument is not about having faith in Bill Belichick. Yeah. My argument is college football is kind of weird. Mm-hmm. You can hit one portal cycle and look at Kurt Cignetti at Indiana in 1 year. They go 11-1. Is that what he's going to do every year? Of course not. But he hit the lottery in 1 year with a bunch of players, and it all panned out. And they had a favorable schedule, and it's an expanded playoff. He's never going to go 12-0, 11-1, and win a national championship.
No.
But Indiana just made a college football playoff. And if I would have told you a year ago, hey, Indiana's going to be in the playoff, you would have said you're an idiot. That will never happen. Or SMU's going to be in the playoff. Yeah, probably not going to happen. College football is weird that way. I think the question will come to your original point. How long is he going to be there? This isn't going to happen overnight. So is he committed for 5 years?
Yeah.
And at that point, can they find a year where the schedule breaks their way, they hit on one or two guys, and they luck their way to a 9-3 year in a playoff bid?
So they fired a guy who won 9 games a couple times to go win 8-9 games?
Yes. They fired a guy for being too old to hire a guy who's too old. All of this is still a mistake.
So America in a presidential election.
They are the presidential election of coaching searches. They interviewed Glenn Schumann, who, for those who don't know, he's the defensive coordinator at Georgia. He's the new Dan Lanning, if you will. There were reports that said they raved about him and how smart he was and how they're so impressed with him, and yet they still chose to hire this guy who will not be your head coach for longer than 5 years because he's 72 years old.
So they did this just for the headline and attention.
Yes.
Not because they legitimately believe this is an upgrade that's going to win them the ACC and be in the playoff consistently.
I mean, I think there's people in the room that are sniffing their own farts that are telling themselves that that's going to happen. But yeah, if you don't think PR is a part of this, you're lying to yourself.
We have a lot to get to in the second hour of the program. Hour 2, Dirt and Sprague on the Fan.
HD2 Portland, 1080, The Fan.
That's his thing. That's beautiful. Isn't that great?
An Odyssey Sports Station. Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, Thursday Night Football, a rematch between the Rams and 49ers. First time week 3. San Francisco grabbed a 14-0 lead only to give up 3 touchdowns to Kyron Williams, and the Rams came back for a 27-24 win. Tonight, 49ers favored by 2.5 for the 5:15 kick on Prime Video. It is now official. North Carolina has announced they have signed Bill Belichick to be the next head coach of the Tar Heels football program on a 5-year deal. Rich Rodriguez's coaching career looks like it's going to come full circle. There's numerous reports he's expected to take the head coaching vacancy at West Virginia, where he served as head coach of the Mountaineers from 2001 to 2007. A controversial foul call with 3 seconds left allowed Jalen Green to make 2 free throws that ended Houston's 15-game losing streak to Golden State. The Rockets are on their way to Vegas to face the Thunder in the NBA Emirates Cup semifinals with a 91-90 victory. The Hawks' second-half rally at Madison Square Garden left the Knicks behind 108-100. Atlanta will face the Milwaukee Bucks in the other semi Saturday in Vegas. You'll hear those games right here on The Fan. More sports scores and stories, 30 minutes. Jason Swigard from The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand at the Odyssey app, The Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Got a smart speaker? It's The Fan in your office and every room of your home. Tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
One day, some of the kids from the neighborhood carried my mother's groceries all the way home. You know why? It was out of respect.
This is Dirt and Sprague.
The most important thing in business is honesty, integrity, hard work, family, never forgetting where we came from. See, you are what you are in this world. That's either one or two things. Either you're somebody or you're nobody.
With Andy Dirt Johnson and Brendan Sprague.
A month from now, this Hollywood big shot's gonna give you what you want.
Too late, man. Start shooting in a week.
I'm gonna make him an offer again with you.
Dirt and Sprague on 1080.
Me, I always tell it to you, even when I lie. So say good night to the bad guy. Come on. Last time you're gonna see a bad guy like this again.
The Fan.
All right, welcome back in. Hour number 2. Dirt and Sprague here on 1080 The Fan, the Odyssey app, 99.5 HD2, and of course, youtube.com/1080 AM The Fan. Thank you to everybody that hangs out with us every morning. We said it in the first hour. If you miss any of the hours of the show, you can catch it at 1080thefan.com. This is our last show for a week.
Yeah, we'll be back next Friday.
Next Friday, we'll be back. We'll dive into the college football playoff round 1 games, and then we'll react to it on the following Monday.
The 23rd. We'll be here the 23rd.
And then we're off, and then we're back, and then the Ducks, and then the New Year.
And the Puddin' Pops.
There's Jell-O in my fridge, actually.
Is there really?
Yeah, my 12-year-old's wanted Jell-O, and I think she found some and just made it herself.
Yeah, so. I'm excited for when little pudding pops are back in my fridge.
Really?
Who doesn't love a good pudding?
You'll regret that when you eat your 9th one in 2 days. Damn it.
Scooping that thing out.
I was enjoying the commercial break, imagining sitting on the couch and your recruiting offers are Dan Lanning, and then here comes Bill Belichick.
Hey, you want to come play with me?
Imagine the messaging from Dan Lanning to Bill Belichick.
It's going to be a little more energetic, a little more personal, I would imagine. And Bill Belichick's going to say, hey, I'll get you to the NFL.
Yeah.
Get you to the NFL.
Lanning and Kirby Smart won't.
They don't know how to do that. They don't know. George has never put a guy into the NFL draft. They don't know how to develop talent for the NFL.
That's such an odd phrasing on McAfee. I just never will get over
Well,
that.
I was just thinking about it yesterday, too. Like, Will Stein, we've talked about him a lot throughout the course of the year. I certainly don't want him to go anywhere. I think he's a young, bright offensive mind, and he will eventually be a head coach. Would you rather, if you're a North Carolina fan, would you rather have Will Stein or Bill Belichick?
Will Stein.
Yeah, I think I would, too.
But today they get to, like, dance.
Yeah,
and
you get the PR win.
And, the PR win. I don't know what that does for people. It clearly is a big deal.
The eyes of the sport are upon you for a little bit, and I think you can make an argument that college football has never been more entertaining. Good or bad, it has never been more entertaining.
Like, imagine if Lanning was to leave, and their answer was Bill Belichick.
Bill Belichick.
How would you suddenly feel about that?
I think I would have the same feeling. Like, okay, is this going to be better than what it was?
How would you feel about Belichick in the Big Ten?
Not great going head-to-head against Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State.
Okay.
Yeah.
The
pathway for me for success is that I don't think the ACC is very good.
I see, and look, I get all of that. Totally fair to point that out. I'm not going to argue the talent level, and I just think there's an element of what those programs, whether you think they're elite, great, good, whatever, we are forgetting that North Carolina had one of the worst defenses I've ever seen in my life this year.
Oh, they were terrible.
And so it's like, what's year 1 look like? Is it optimistic? Does that lead into a good year 2? And then at that point, I don't know if he's back.
Yeah, and how long is he sticking around?
And
That's
so,
the biggest question.
Your points about the ACC and how good or bad these teams are fair to point out. They also all have runways and have been operating in this space, whereas this is an entire new regime.
Yep.
And what their hope is, the boosters will lead them. They've really let them well the last 2 years, because I haven't talked or thought about North Carolina football in 3 or 4 years. Let's get to some audio. I want to get to this. Dan Lanning, Ducks versus Then came out yesterday.
It did.
And I had a buddy basically tweet a GIF of a guy who was holding in an orgasm because he is a diehard Duck fan.
Dude, spit on that thing.
Here's a couple clips. This one was the pregame Dan Lanning in the locker room. He wrote something on his hand, and there's a phrasing they were using going onto the field against Penn State.
What will this moment look like? Talk about being a keystone species. There's one more opponent out there you got to wipe out. There's one more team out there that you got to take down to become the keystone species. The time is right now, and all night you're going to be hearing them chirp. We are. When we step back in this locker room, I'll tell you what we are. We are the champions.
They took care of that business. They came in the locker room, and here was Dan Lanning.
Think about the sacrifice you made to make this moment happen. Think about our growth throughout the season. Think about the toughness that we had to show. Think about the connection in this room. It's special, man. It's special, and I don't want anybody here to take it for granted. We know there's more left, right? And I want you to feel like these moments you're feeling right now, man, nobody really gets to experience this. This is so unique. Right? I'm so blessed that I get to wear that O. Right? Realize how special that is.
How many times did you watch this yesterday?
Only twice. It was on twice. Well, first time I had to make sure, you watch it and then you get emotional. So you're not sure if you're missing little aspects of it, little details. So then you got to go back. You got to dive back in. It's like watching a movie a second time. Was there anything in there that I missed? And you're like, oh, look at that. I missed that little cutaway, or I missed that little scene. That was incredibly well done and well worth the wait. They usually come out on Tuesdays. And then I think the guy who produces them, who has done a phenomenal job all season making these, said this one's going to take a little bit longer.
It should. It was the Big Ten title game.
It was about 20 minutes long, so it was a little bit longer than what they usually do, and it tied all the way back into the very beginning of the season. And it was something that we had mentioned earlier in the week that Lanning talked about in his press conference of keystone species. That was their big theme this year. You come into a new environment, you like the wolves in Yellowstone. That's been their whole mantra all season. We're the keystone species of the Big Ten, and I think that's where the really cool thing is to see something happen and take root with the team in August, to see it kind of be that mental nugget all season long and then come to fruition in the final week of the regular season, and that's why his team believes so much.
I saw this one out of Las Vegas, the College Football Playoff Championship Exacta. So these are the odds for the best possible option that could happen.
Yeah,
so
the most likely option.
The most likely options that could happen. The number one, they doubt us. The chip on the shoulder. The number one, best odds, most likely to happen. Oregon defeating Penn State.
Nobody's giving us a chance, man.
Not a single person.
Nobody's giving us a chance.
You're right. What's the second best one, Sprague? You know what? It's the team nobody's giving it's Oregon defeating Georgia.
Nobody's giving us a chance.
How about that?
Look at that. Georgia's going to be there. Of course they will. Nobody's picking our team to be there.
Number 3 is Texas defeating
See,
Georgia.
Told you. Nobody's giving us. Look at that SEC bias.
Okay.
Look at all that SEC bias out there.
I did a poll question on this. I was curious last night. Of the potential, because we're going to be off for a while, so there's some stuff we can throw out here and talk about and kind of look ahead. Which team would potentially be the most exciting matchup in the playoff for Duck fans? The options are Georgia, Texas, Arizona State, Notre Dame. Posted that at Dirt and Sprague on Twitter. I still can't do poll questions on Blue Sky. I wish they'd really get on that.
Yeah, they got to figure that out.
And I don't like to do open-ended questions. It's kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Which team would be the most exciting? I know the whole toughest path to a playoff is a big thing. But I've been on this for a while, and I'm going to kind of die on this hill. I still think winning, if you ever in a position to win your first national championship, I don't know how you don't want to do it against Georgia. You can say Georgia's maybe the biggest test. Last time you played Georgia, you lost by 46 points. I get all of that. I totally understand it. You want the easiest path. If you get SMU in the title game, you take it.
Yes.
But, man, there'd be nothing sweeter than beating the Georgia Bulldogs to win your first title 2 years after they absolutely embarrassed you.
Absolute lunacy. I don't care who you beat. I understand the point of what happened 2 years ago.
Be a keystone species. What happened to that? That all went away.
We've already conquered our environment. The Big Ten, we are the keystone species.
Now you need to be the keystone species in college football.
I remember this same debate taking place and getting into just hours-long arguments with Duck fans in 2010. Because I don't know how many people remember the scenarios there. Oregon went undefeated in 2010. Auburn went undefeated in 2010. There was another undefeated team that year. Do you remember who it was?
Probably something dumb like Notre Dame.
It was TCU and
Oh,
Andy
TCU,
Dalton, the
that's
Red Rifle.
right.
And the last week of the regular season,
I'm thinking of 2012 Notre Dame. That's
yeah,
right.
2012. That was who they would have played if DeAnthony Thomas blocked downfield. In the 2010 national title game leading up to it in the Iron Bowl, if you go back and look at that game, Auburn was down on the road in Tuscaloosa by like 20. I mean, they were getting blown out. And Cam Newton led them on this huge comeback, and they came back to win. And I'll never forget the debate going into that game and out of that game about Duck fans arguing with me. No, we want to beat the team from the SEC.
Yeah.
We want this to be a respected championship, and if we play TCU, it won't be respected. And I said, I don't care who the hell you play. Winning a national championship is a national championship. Michigan cheated and got theirs last year, and ain't nobody taking that away. So I don't care who you play. I'd rather play SMU in the national title than I would play Georgia. But I see the symbolism point that you're trying to make. In terms of exciting, it's hard for me to say because all of these are going to cause me a minor heart attack. Georgia probably the most exciting matchup, though. If I take my fandom out of it, and I just think national championship games, storylines, going against his old coach. Kirby had to do that with Saban, remember? He butted his head against Saban for a long time, couldn't beat him. That was the whole narrative around Kirby. He had a double-digit lead in a national championship game at halftime.
And they had to go to a freshman.
And got beat by a backup quarterback and then blew the game in overtime and threw a game winner. That was the whole narrative about Kirby. And then he finally broke through and he beat Saban in the title game and he won it ultimately. So from a national college football angle, that would be the most exciting. But give me SMU.
No,
give me Indiana.
Yeah, I certainly get it. But you just can't beat what that feeling would be.
Yeah. Are you going to beat them, though? I don't know if you
what's
will.
Their quarterback situation?
I don't know, man.
You're going into this tournament. You've said this time and time again, and you may prove to be right. Oregon has the best quarterback situation of all the teams in this tournament, right?
They do. I also know it's incredibly difficult to go out there and play elite level football
every single time.
4 consecutive games.
Well,
in order for Oregon to win, they would have just beaten a top 5 team in Penn State.
Yeah.
They would have to beat a top 6 team in Ohio State or Tennessee, or 6 or 7, wherever they are ranked. A likely top 5 team in Texas and a likely top 5 team in Georgia. You would have to beat.
Well, you wouldn't have to beat Penn State there. Georgia would take care of Penn State.
No, I'm saying Penn State, you just beat them. They are a top
gotcha.
5 team. So in order to win 4 games in a row to get to this point, you would have to beat 4 consecutive teams ranked inside the top 7.
Yeah, and you largely have won your games this year. You've had a lot of good games that have been pretty both sides.
Yeah.
You didn't beat Penn State because you were stout defensively.
No.
You came up with some good defensive plays.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's hard to ask a team to bring an A-level. Like, that's a hard thing to do,
But
man.
nobody has been A-level all year.
No.
Georgia themselves, they were, what, C-minus level against Georgia Tech?
This is the whole point of playing teams like that, though, is that if you bring a random B-minus game and you get their A game, that is when it's tough. Like, you can beat some of these teams. If you were playing Arizona State, I genuinely believe you could win that game with a B-minus effort.
Yeah,
you could have a couple of turnovers, a weird penalty, a bad bounce. You're like, all right, whatever. We'll find a way to win.
I think you could beat Ohio State with a B.
And you might be able to, but
know?
I also know that those teams have shown when they play their A game what they're capable of. Now, will you get it? I don't know. That's the beauty of the playoff, and that's the beauty of the journey. But Lanning was doing an interview earlier this week, and he talked about the pathway being tough, and he said, whatever, like, go drop the ball, we'll play whoever.
Yeah.
But he alluded to, and I think it's a great point of, like, at some point you're going to need a bounce. At some point you're going to need a break. Like, if you're playing elite teams week in and week out, there's not a big separation in talent. Oregon's not head and shoulders better talently than Texas or Georgia or Ohio State or Tennessee. Those are very evenly matched teams. Oregon's been the most consistent all year. At some point, it might come down to the bounce of a football. Does it go out of bounds? Does a tipped interception happen? Does a fumble get recovered? And that might be the difference in winning or losing.
George Reister's going to join us at 8 a.m., former Oregon Duck tight end. We'll get his thoughts on the playoff bracket, the first year of having the playoff in our lives, Oregon being the 1 seed. We'll talk with him at 8. Dirt and Sprague back with more on 1080 The Fan.
This is Dirt and Sprague on 1080 The Fan.
Well, Rich Rod's back at West Virginia. How about that?
Dude, I said it earlier. I'll say it again, man.
Yeah.
That on top of Dan Mullen going to UNLV randomly.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't either, but I don't know if college football has ever been more entertaining.
That's the job he wanted, huh? He waited for UNLV?
Imagine saying 3 years ago, or not 3 years ago, it would have to be longer than that, but like Bill Belichick's going to be coaching in college. Deion Sanders might stick around at Colorado. I never thought that was going to actually happen.
Yeah,
it sounds like he might stick around and be there for the long haul, which would be great for the sport. You could have Rich Rod back at West Virginia, which definitely makes them more interesting. They've been in a decade.
Which coaches are more interesting in the sports, NFL or college?
College.
Yeah.
Why do you say college?
Across the board?
Well, Deion won. It's just hard to match Deion from an entertainment
We didn't give
standpoint.
Deion a lot of oxygen this year the way we did the year before.
I thought we did. Nationally, we didn't. And I think that will probably change, but
you
maybe I'm
thought
wrong
we
on
gave
that.
Deion a lot of oxygen? I didn't feel like we didn't play very much Deion this year.
I mean, we didn't play a lot of audio because he didn't have a lot of he didn't do the kind of trash talk thing week in and week out.
He kind of did. It just nobody gave them the attention. Their over-under wasn't very good. They were picked to finish near the bottom.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought it was more of a, hey, I thought we did conversations about look how well Colorado's playing this year.
We did. We in that way we did. I'm just saying the way we did the first year, whether that locally or nationally, it wasn't as much as it was from one year to the next.
Yeah, I mean, how many coaches in the NFL do you view as entertaining?
Tomlin, Campbell,
Harbaugh.
That's my guy. I'm trying to think. Let me go through this gauntlet. It depends on the game and the moment, really, too, because sometimes McVay, I think, can be interesting. Other times, nah.
I make McVay's in that category for sure.
Shanahan can get snippy with people.
He can.
He's a little uppity.
He's a little boring, but
usually coaches draw attention for, sticking their feet in their mouths, mostly.
In the
Outside
NFL?
of Campbell. Yeah. Sirianni.
I mean, Sirianni's entertaining. Say what you want about him. I'm not a huge believer in him, but he's
I don't know
entertaining.
that he's entertaining.
Andy Reid had a clip come out after they beat the Chargers Sunday, and they won their division again, right? So it's like X amount of times in a row. And there was a clip the Chiefs put together. I can't remember how many times have they won the AFC West now?
Oh, 8 in a row.
7 straight, whatever it is, 8, whatever. They clipped every year that they've been on this streak with him, and they pieced it together, and basically he says the same thing every time. He's like, they don't give these away for free. Next year, they don't give away these for free.
Like, the teacher showing up every day.
Yeah, continuously saying the same thing. It's like the teacher that walks in wearing the same outfit, saying the same thing. That's Andy Reid when they win the division.
That sounds about right. He's not very entertaining.
No.
But his winning is what makes him entertaining.
Well,
his
but
success makes him entertaining.
How many college coaches are
He's
entertaining?
doing Fumblerooski do.
Fumblerooski.
Like Lanning's got a little bit of this.
I mean, I think Kenny
right?
Dillingham's very entertaining.
I think Signetti's hilarious.
Signetti says, Google me, bitch. I think
Okay.
he's entertaining.
Kirby, I'll give Kirby.
Kirby's
Dillingham's
ranting
great.
and raving all the time.
So that's 4.
Well, now you got Belichick. You got Dion, which is...
Okay, Dion. I'll put Dion, not Belichick.
Okay.
Belichick's not entertaining. We make fun of how boring he is.
Fran Brown says, wash me, baby.
He also is vowing that Kyle McCord's going to play.
Yes.
There was a guy asking him this week. I should have pulled the audio. And he basically was like, is Kyle going to play? And he's like, what do you think, man? I don't know. That's why I'm asking you.
I'm asking you.
Well, you want to ask the questions? Yeah, I don't know. And he's like, yeah, he's going to play. Football's happening. Kyle McCord's going to play.
All right, we'll take it at your word there, Fran.
I guess.
Go take a shower. I think Row the Boat's pretty entertaining.
But see, now you're naming names that, like, everybody knows the NFL coaches. You're naming names that people don't know.
Okay.
Fran Brown is not a name people in
That's fair.
sports fandoms largely know.
That's probably fair.
I don't know if, would you even guess Syracuse out of, 30 schools? The name Fran Brown?
No, if you ask me who would have Fran Brown coach for, Syracuse would not be high on my list.
Kentucky'd be near the top.
It would be somewhere in
right?
the South.
Yeah, it'd be somewhere in the South.
100% be somewhere in the SEC.
Brian
Jed
Kelly.
Fish is entertaining.
Jed Fish?
Yes.
Really?
You find him entertaining?
Yeah.
Brian Kelly for the opposite reasons
opposite
of good?
reason,
yeah.
yeah.
The red
Family.
ass. You're my family.
My family. Yeah, I'm trying to scroll through and see if they're missing anybody else.
I don't
Lane
know.
Kiffin's definitely entertaining.
Lane Kiffin, that's a great one.
Lane Kiffin's entertaining.
Kind of flew off the radar.
Yeah.
I'm with you. The sport, I said it yesterday, and I just want to double down. This idea that the playoff was going to take anything away from regular season stuff was ridiculous, and I know people don't want to admit that yet. but it is. What element did it take away? I don't think it took anything away in the passion department. I mean, ask Ohio State fan how they felt. Did they feel any less passionate about their week to week?
No, I do not think they did.
I would actually argue going into Michigan, they felt more tense than they felt in the last 6 years. So the season wasn't taken away with this expanded playoff. It only added more anger and disappointment. I thought you got more coaches fired up arguing about how their 3-loss season should be looked at more favorably than a 2-loss season.
Yeah.
This was a great year for the sport.
It was an unbelievable year, and now you might be able to keep some of your big coaches around. Doesn't seem like there's going to be a lot of wholesale changes. And imagine saying a year ago that Bill Belichick was going to be the head coach in North Carolina. I don't know if I would have ever, if you would have said that a year ago on the show.
What would you have said if
I would have laughed at you.
But if you knew the Falcons, who were going to reportedly hire them until their internal people basically begged blank not to do it.
Yes, I don't do it.
They said, don't trust this guy, let's go young. If I would have told you he wouldn't get the Falcon job and he wouldn't get a job,
I just would have never seen him in college football. I don't know why. I just never would have connected the dots.
If you would have given me odds, I wouldn't have been overly shocked. Now, North Carolina, I don't know if I would have seen that coming. I don't know how confident I am in saying this opinion right now.
It's only a 1 year. For me, it would have been he's going to take a year off, and then he's going to wait for the next head coaching cycle in the NFL. And we're not even there yet. We're not even to the offseason coaching cycle.
If he would have gone to college, I would have seen him going to something even smaller.
Like a service academy or something, going back to Navy or something and running the wing tee and let's just coach football. And the purest form of coaching football, that argument I could see.
But I had a Jets
trying
fan,
to be a player in the ACC and get NIL and just doing the whole thing, I would have never seen that
But
coming.
Dirt, I legitimately had a Jets fan. And so there's the context for you. Jets fan. I had a Jets fan tell me legitimately how dumb the NFL was to not hire him, and tell me that McDaniels, which one's the Josh? McDaniels?
Josh McDaniels.
Yeah. God, I hate that there's
Mike
two.
McDaniel.
Yes, the no S. They told me that McDaniels would have turned Trevor Lawrence into Tom Brady. That happened yesterday on my text.
That happened yesterday.
And I'm like,
what?
Excuse me?
Huh?
And he goes, oh, what do you don't think so? I go, what was his offense in Vegas and Denver?
It was terrible.
All right, so was that a Tom Brady thing, or I'm fascinated how people view him. I'm fascinated what he's going to do in the sport, and I'm interested in the NFL, who basically said kick rocks. And as many NFL pundits pointed out, you know how many guys have been given second chances in the NFL and he couldn't get one?
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Well, I guess you could say New England was a second chance, but a second chance post the dynasty.
Yes, at this age. It's wild that he didn't get a steeper look, if you will. To be honest with you, you can feel however you want about him. The guy's got 6 Super Bowls. There's a lot of really bad coaches in the National Football League.
You are not incorrect there, and there's a lot of
Would you rather have
guys.
Antonio Pierce or Bill Belichick as your head coach?
Well, I would have chosen Belichick between those two options last year.
Well, this is the whole point. They hired Antonio Pierce.
I get it, but
Callahan might get fired in Tennessee. There's been a lot of really bad hires. Dennis Allen. Would you have Dennis Allen or Bill Belichick as your head coach?
Well, New Orleans doesn't even want Dennis Allen.
No,
they fired
they don't.
him. You could certainly make an argument about last year hires, okay? I'm talking about right now this year. You can say that he deserves another shot, that a team should be giving him a look. And I'm telling you point blank, I would not, as a fan of a team, want my team to hire him.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
So I don't really know what the argument is for this season. I think this is why college was the only option for him.
Yeah, I would have assumed that he would have waited a little bit longer until either no opening came or at least give it 2 years. But the age thing was a big deal for him, obviously, and I don't know what his driving motivators are. I have no clue if any NFL team actually wanted to hire him or not. It's all random source reporting, and we haven't even reached the offseason. That's the funny part about why I was so surprised is that if anything, you maybe wait that second hiring cycle and then you see what comes up, and maybe if nobody sniffs around you for 2 straight years in the NFL, or everybody balks at the idea, and maybe his intel from NFL teams is telling him that that's not going to happen and nobody's going to offer you a job, and that's what ultimately pushed him in. It's hard to get a read of how much of this is he genuinely wants to go be a college coach and how much of this is the NFL wants nothing to do with him. Or is it a complete combination of both of them? I don't know.
We did a poll question on Belichick. How scared should college football powerhouses be of Bill Belichick? No. Good luck heels, or yes. right now, no is running away with it, 87.5%. Somebody says the only people who should be scared are boyfriends of hot girlfriends.
Yeah, you got to keep your head on a swivel, man.
Very valid point.
Never know what's going to happen down there.
We have a lot more to get into. George Ryer in a half hour. We got some NFL. We'll do an early, kind of different variation of Sprague and Line today at 8:30 since it's our final show for about a week. So we have a lot more to get to next, but first, Swag with the sports update.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Brought to you by Red Tail Golf Center's holiday sale going on now with up to 50% off all your holiday golfing needs. Red Tail Golf Center, where they guarantee the lowest holiday prices. Visit them at golfredtail.com. First on The Fan, Week 15 of the NFL slate begins in the Bay. 49ers looking for revenge against the Rams, who rallied from a 2-touchdown deficit for a 27-24 victory in their first meeting of the season behind 3 touchdowns from Kyron Williams. 5:15 kickoff on Prime Video. Niners are 2.5-point favorites. The entire football world still scratching their collective heads after the announcement that indeed Bill Belichick has signed a 5-year deal to go to Chapel Hill as the new head football coach of the North Carolina Tar Heels. Looks like Rich Rodriguez's coaching career will come full circle. Numerous reports is he's going to take the head coaching vacancy at West Virginia. He led Jacksonville State to a conference championship this past season. Now, Rich Rod coached the Mountaineers from 2001 to 2007. The Rockets ended their 15-game losing streak to the Warriors thanks to a controversial foul call with 3 seconds to go. Jalen Green nailed 2 free throws for the 91-90 victory. They will take on the Thunder in the NBA Emirates Cup semifinals this Saturday in Vegas. The Atlanta Hawks will take on the Bucks after they rallied to beat the Knicks at Madison Square Garden 108-100. You'll hear both those games this Saturday right here on The Fan. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Jason Swigart from The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand at the Odyssey app, The Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
The inside story on the Blazers, Ducks, and Beavers.
basically suggests that I'm the CEO United Health Care Killer.
You're getting more of that, huh?
Luigi?
And
What's his name?
Luigi,
yeah.
Luigi. I in no way support murder, obviously. Weirdly, kind of like a really good compliment because that dude's really good looking.
He is a good looking guy.
And I've never been complimented to that level.
He's fit. Hey, your eyebrows look different. Your eyebrows look more like the killer's eyebrows than his eyebrows do.
Just don't go wearing hoodies around downtown.
Yeah, let's
okay?
not do that.
Well, obviously, I'm not going to be partaking in a lot of the behavior that
Let's
he
not
was
go
doing.
risen up gals at hostels, okay?
I don't have
tone
a
it down a little
manifesto,
bit. Are you sure we don't know about that? You got a Beaver manifesto over there somewhere.
Be careful if you rent one of those communal Nike bikes downtown, okay?
Oh, I will. I'll make sure.
That's your manifesto.
But it's a weird thing because of like what he did, but like people saying I look like him, it's kind of like, well, thanks, you know?
Hey,
in a weird way, thank you.
He's a good-looking guy. I'll take it. Anytime somebody tells you look like a good-looking guy, I think you take that compliment and you run with it. Who cares what he's done?
I think you're right.
Any reactions to Big Ten schedules getting released yesterday from you two non-Big Ten bros?
No, I actually had a funnier reaction. Schedule stuff is so weird. Like,
well, and it's not dead set yet because they haven't picked the Friday games.
There will be Friday games for the Northwest schools,
yeah. And so it's
every game currently says Saturday. They will move some of them to Fridays.
I can't
Oregon
wait
had
for
2 this
Penn
year.
State to lose 3 regular season games. That'll be great.
Oregon goes to Penn State in September.
Great.
Right out of the gate. End of September.
There's rumors about the Northwestern game where
that
it will
I don't
be
think is
played.
good. That I think is set. So I think there was the chance when their later games could be played at Wrigley Field, but they didn't get that. So since it's early in the year, I think it's going to be on the lake.
Oh,
at their I thought I read that yesterday.
Is their new stadium done?
No. They have another year or two at least left.
There's still rumors.
But they can't play on the lake in the winter.
Right.
Because it's too cold.
Yeah.
And so, like, when they played Ohio State late in the year at home, they played that game at Wrigley Field. And so that's kind of their cool thing that they do. They might even play some games at Soldier Field. I'm not sure. But that's one of their earliest conference games in the history of the program.
I have a hard time caring much about schedule stuff in general because of the portal now.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, I don't know who's the quarterback, who's going to be there, who's going to be there.
In terms of, matchups for teams and stuff.
Yeah,
I think it's good if you're looking to make a road trip knowing what weekend it's going to be.
Well, I guess for that, yes.
Now it's set in stone.
Yeah. So
Husky fans are all bitching and moaning because they feel like they got the raw end of the deal.
Really?
Yeah, they're complaining to hell and high water that they're facing too many teams off of buys next year.
Oh. I mean, they got a tough schedule year one with the travel they had to do this year.
They did. Didn't have to play Ohio State.
Boy, you don't care, do you?
No, I mean, stop complaining. Go win your games. Ball's in front of you. Play in a parking lot. I don't care when we're playing you. We need to play 8 straight conference games. Didn't see me complaining about that. Just go win. That's all you got to do. That's what Dan Lanning tells me.
How many teams did the Ducks play off a bye this year? Wasn't it like 2 or 3 down the stretch?
They back at the end of their 8-game conference stretch. They had to play the last 2 opponents, both coming off of a bye. Their longest stretch of games, by the way, next year will only be 4 in a row. So they've corrected that mistake. The number of teams who are playing somebody coming off of a bye in the Big Ten next year, UW has 4 occasions on their schedule. Oregon has 2, Penn State has 2, Nebraska has 2, and then everybody else has 1. So they feel like they got the raw end of the deal.
The amount of people rooting against your team in this playoff. Because the cocky sniffing, oh, my God.
It's just mainly cocky sniffing in that rivalry because, you were the pro development model, and now Bill Belichick's in college football. How's that going to work out for you?
He's also going to steal your defensive coordinator.
Yes, he is. But don't worry, the Huskies are going to go hire Robert Saleh.
Oh, is that the rumor?
From Husky fans, that's the rumor. Robert Saleh is going to go to college football.
Belichick as the defensive coordinator.
That'd be a good hire.
He was just an NFL head coach. He's definitely going to go be the DC at Washington.
Could be a long day if the Ducks pull this off.
People identified Wisconsin and is Luke Fickell going to get fired? They have to play Alabama in Tuscaloosa next year.
Yeah, they have a 5-game stretch there. Where
they have to go to now these aren't all in a row. I'm just giving you chunks. They have to go to Michigan.
Yep.
To Eugene, and play Ohio State in a 5-game stretch.
So I ask this every year of guys like him. If he's going to get fired and there's not a real honest observation that they're not a good team, why not fire him now?
Yeah.
Is that just about saving a couple mil?
Well, I guess the argument would be we made that thing with Billy Napier last year, and he kept his job. He found a way through it.
Yeah.
Everybody said there's no way that guy's going to do anything. He ended up going 7-5, pulling off a couple upsets at the end of the year, galvanized the team. He kept his gig.
The question becomes who's available that puts you in a better position this year to play those games than Luke Fickell. Because if he goes, how many guys that are on the roster hit the transfer portal? Because it opens up if you fire a coach for 30 days or something.
I also wouldn't fire. Like I jokingly say that. Like that'd be pretty dumb.
And
next
who
year
are
will be
you going to hire that's
year
on the market to come in?
You steal Bielema back.
I mean, that's the trend right now. We got Rich Rodriguez back. Might as well bring Bielema back.
Boy, that's a weird thing, isn't it? The way he left West Virginia, now he's coming back.
That is one of the ugliest for those who don't remember, that is one of the ugliest coaching divorces ever. He left.
Was Jonathan Smith, pre-Jonathan Smith.
I mean, the governor got involved. There was a lawsuit over his buyout that dragged out for months and months and months, and it hung over his entire Michigan tenure. It was a black cloud over his coaching career. So the schedule came out yesterday. I did find that interesting. I asked a poll question, though, last night. Now, you can define this however you want to define it. I don't know what your different feelings are about the programs, but based on your parameters in your mind, which new coach will have the most success? Dan Mullen at UNLV, Rich Rodriguez at West Virginia, or Bill Belichick at North Carolina?
In year one or for their tenure?
For their tenure. Not in year one. For their which will be the most successful coaching hire? Because that's not a one-year thing. So whatever you view as successful for those programs, who's going to hit the benchmarks? Who will have the most success?
I think Rich Rod.
Rich Rod at West Virginia?
I think this might be his last go-around. As we've seen, the Big 12, there's no juggernaut in the Big 12 where,
not yet, at least.
Not yet.
Not yet, at
we'll
least.
See.
We thought it was going to be Utah, and that didn't work out too well for everybody's opinions.
We'll see what Dillingham can do and parlay off this season. But, yeah. Plus, he knows that area. I think he can put it together quicker than the other guys.
I'm going to go Mullen. I don't blame Swag for going Rich Rod because of the conference stuff. Mullen, I don't know if you say railroaded, but the way the Florida stint went was very odd. Like the minute they could get rid of him, they did. And maybe that was a hint of what wasn't happening at Florida for them. But he got to observe college football this year. He's been broadcasting these games. There's an element of picking brains, seeing the landscape.
Yeah.
UNLV, I know they had the Sluka story this year, but UNLV is, Odom helped build that thing up. Arroyo helped build that thing up. That's not like some dumpster job he has to rebuild.
No.
He'll have to replace guys and figure that out, but that's kind of a ready-made situation in their conference. Dan Mullen I could see UNLV getting back to a Mountain West championship.
I mean, they were a game away from going to the college football playoff this year.
Yeah.
More so than West Virginia and North Carolina were.
Yeah. I'm going to go Mullen there.
Okay.
And Belichick, I mean, we talked about that a lot. I don't really have a lot of faith.
Yeah, I answered Rich Rodriguez for Swag's point on the Big 12. That seems like such a weird year-to-year conference that Arizona State won it this year, and they were picked to finish last. And so you tell me West Virginia, he has a year where he lands, a couple of guys out of the portal, they win the Big 2. I could totally see that happening with Rich Rod.
I actually was more entertained by the flag planting law that's being rumored in Ohio yesterday.
Politicians just need to quit pandering.
They are so
do
soft.
Some damn
but see, that's the thing. They weren't even pandering because the people heard about this and thought this was a joke. There weren't people that were like, yeah, this is policy I care about.
Legitimately saw it and just laughed. That's pretty dumb. We're not going to do that, right?
The governor was like, how do you police this? What are you talking about?
What, are you going to arrest the players and then not let them travel back with their team for a felony charge for planting a flag?
I think they also found out that the guy who's creating this didn't even go to Ohio State.
Not even a Buckeye.
He's not even a Buckeye.
So he's a political grifter is what you're telling me.
Yeah, much like most of the system. Yeah, they're just going to say
works.
something to piss you off, to create a culture war, and never actually do anything that helps your life.
A couple of notes quickly on the Oregon schedule, and then we'll go. Mike Gundy making a trip to Eugene, Oregon next year. And his mullet, that's their second non-conference game.
Not exciting.
Not exciting at all, but it's just funny that Mike Gundy's going to be there.
Did he renegotiate his deal?
Yeah, they took his money down.
Yeah,
they harballed him.
They did harbaugh him. Kurt Signetti coming to Eugene next year. I think we already knew that, but now we have the date, October 11th.
Is that as exciting when you know most of those guys won't be there?
No, but I'm excited to make Google Me Bitch jokes all week for him. And then, we'll remember that.
Google just saw the result, and it's going to be the Oregon final.
PJ Fleck also coming to Autzen Stadium for the first time next year, and then USC makes a return trip on the second to last week of the regular season. So it'll be a cold November game for USC coming to town. That is the schedule breakdown. So it came out yesterday.
I would love to put in a request now for Fleck for the week of the Oregon game. Just because talking to him was
He's
delightful.
fun, man. Seems like a really fun guy to talk to.
He was.
Yeah.
He was great.
So the schedules have come out around the Big Ten, and that happened yesterday. They announced it. Oregon State's schedule's been out for a while now, so nice to have those kind of finalized for fans. One last note, by the way, for fans, I heard the buying process for Rose Bowl tickets yesterday was an absolute horror show. Horse shore? What did I say?
Were you saying
horror
show?
You say kind of like a horse.
I went horse.
Like you're gonna do horse S.
I
and
did.
then,
Yeah.
Like you
it was horse S.
and
They ran out of tickets like in 20 seconds, and longtime season ticket holders couldn't get tickets and couldn't find them. Now everybody's got to go to the secondary market. They didn't limit how many tickets you could buy, so a lot of people got in there initially, and if you were granted access immediately, people were going and buying like 20 tickets. And now they're going to try and resell them.
Why do I feel like Ohio State fans are like those idiots on the sneakers app that know how to infiltrate the system?
They're just screwing people over.
And they've bought all the tickets.
They're going to come buy all your tickets. And this was just supposed to be for Oregon, though. It was the Oregon allotment
the Oregon
of tickets.
window.
It was just the Oregon window, and it was an absolute disaster yesterday. We will get to George Ryer coming up at the top of the hour. How wrong were we? And also a little peekaboo. We'll do that coming up next on The Fan.
Who's stinking it up?
Woo! Do not go in there.
It's time for Who's Stinking It Up, a sports lowlight that's ripped from the headlines.
We couldn't do diddly poo.
Brought to you by Three Mountains Home Services. Schedule your appointment online at threemountainshomservices.com.
And that was taken from us by a call that I don't think an elementary school referee would have made, because that guy would have had feel and said, you know what, I'm not going to decide a game on a loose ball 80 feet from the basket.
Yeah, controversial ending there for Golden State. A foul called at the end. The Rockets get free throws. They win. They advance in the cup. That motion and anger you heard of head coach Steve Kerr, that only comes out during cup action because the cup means everything.
He said he was pissed. He wanted to go to Vegas. They wanted to win the cup. One of the few things he hasn't accomplished as a head coach.
He cares.
Needs one more thing, one more trophy on his mantle.
Swag, why don't you care?
It was a bad call.
Why don't you care? America, care. The cup. Who's stinking it up? Refereeing at the end of that game. Brought to you by Three Mountains Home Services. Make your home services delightful. Let the pros tackle the projects you need completed. Schedule an appointment online. Three Mountains Home Services. That's threemountainshomservices.com.
This is Dirt and Sprague on 1080 The Fan.
All right, before I get to a little peekaboo for the college football playoff, right around the corner, let's make fun of me. I have the preseason dirty poll on my computer here that we came out with in August. And I'm going to give you my top 12 from August.
Are you going to do this the way the playoff is set up?
No, this is just I have my top 25 written down. I'm not going to this is who I picked to be in the top 12 when we previewed the season. Which one is the worst pick? So I went Georgia, Oregon, Texas. Not bad, right? Ohio State, those are easy. Notre Dame.
Boy, ballsy picks by you.
Top 5.
Wow.
Who would you like me to put in the top 5?
Well, I just know if you were bragging.
Ole Miss. No, it's going to get bad. Don't worry.
Ole Miss was close.
Ole Miss, Alabama.
Close.
Michigan, number 8.
Yeah.
Penn State, number 9. Oklahoma, number 10. Utah, number 11. Missouri, number 12. What was the worst whiff in the top 12?
Well, okay, the first one, Michigan. I feel like we both knew this was going to be a pretty decent step back for them, and I don't know why you talked yourself into that.
I didn't see this coming. I didn't see them winning a national championship, but not having a functioning offense, I did not see that happening.
But their best year in my mind was 8-4. Like in any scenario, the best possible season they could have was 8-4.
Yeah.
The Missouri thing, I was with you on the hype of them.
I mean, Missouri's still technically ranked in the top 25, but that is a sham. They should not be ranked in the top 25.
And you have certainly pivoted. You hate Drinkwitz. He's
I do.
Probably your most hateable coach.
Yes, his celebration from signing a 5-star and then that kid entering the portal 1 year later is pretty funny.
But you also kept dabbling with them being in this throughout the year, and I had a point pretty early where I'm like, nah, they're frauds. And you just kept giving them a benefit before they broke you on them. So that, I won't give you so much grief about that. Utah, none of us saw that coming.
Yeah.
Other than that, that's...
Oklahoma?
Okay, Oklahoma's a good one.
Oklahoma's pretty bad.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad.
I didn't see that bad coming.
Oklahoma's pretty
I don't know if I had them in the playoff, but I didn't
At least
see
Michigan ended up beating Ohio State.
Yeah.
Well, I guess to that point, Oklahoma beat
Bama.
Alabama.
Yeah.
They kept them out of the playoff.
They did. Hey, that's true. Look at that. Ended up getting that right.
You didn't whiff too badly on your final one, and that one's not that awful.
No. It's funny to look through the rest of the top 25. There are a few good hits in there. Florida State was ranked in there. Oklahoma State was in my top 25.
You had the Wolfpack in there.
NC State, Arizona was in there.
Yeah.
Oh, buddy.
Arizona.
Nebraska, Kansas.
Oh.
Ugly.
Not good.
When I look at the first round playoff bracket, is it as easy to answer the question immediately as Tennessee of which underdog do we have the most confidence in? Because every single one of these point spreads is north of a touchdown.
Well, Tennessee's is still a touchdown, right?
It's still 7.5 still. You're getting the hook. So you got Clemson, who is an underdog by 11.
Are you talking about covering a number to win outright?
Just like you can go either ways. By covering that, it tells me it's a one-score game and they have a chance to win, and it's a compelling game.
Yeah.
Of
Probably.
like which one you have the most confidence in.
It's hard not to say Tennessee there. Because I'm curious what SMU at Penn State is, and I'm somewhat. We're gonna get a good idea of what Indiana Notre Dame is early.
Yeah.
Is Notre Dame just physically gonna out everything them? Very possible.
They're just gonna run over them. Or...
This is to me what am I missing that Indiana, Notre Dame, and Tennessee, Ohio State are the same point spread? Does that not confuse the hell out of anybody else?
Well, it's Notre Dame's schedule. What would you point to that's like overly impressive for you?
That's fair.
And also
the Tennessee one boggles my mind.
It just is boggling my mind.
Is there an injury?
Why
I don't
that is
know
7.5
about somewhere? I don't know.
I think that's a respect to Ohio State at home. By the way, this is a way to get you to gamble.
It definitely is. They might we're off for the next. I might drive up to A&A and put some money on that game, dude. I don't understand that line at all.
Unless you schedule a boys' night, I know you enough to say you're not going to do that.
I might have a little boys' day trip. Let's go
a little boys' day trip.
Little boys' day trip. Let's go get some
Tuesday trip.
steak. Little Tuesday afternoon. Lay some bets at the sports book.
His first
afternoon
true
off.
Dad educational experience.
Let's go, Teddy. We're gonna go put some money on Tennessee to cover 7.5 because this line doesn't make any damn sense.
I so want a picture of you with the baby born and
Yes.
Teddy ball game.
Alan from Hangover.
Riding into Michael Jordan Steakhouse with your tickets.
Give me a ribeye and give me Tennessee plus 7.5, please, and a cocktail. Thank
I have
you.
it the other way, Swag. I have him driving without a baby. He's finally got a dad day off. He's at the casino. It's 1:45 p.m. And as they sit down, steak bites and frites are coming. He goes, wait a minute, guys. Drinks right before they show up, opens the top. Boom. Let me take these charcoal pills. They're good for hangovers. He's now at a point where he has to go buy charcoal pills.
They help you recover quickly the next day, man. They help you out a little bit. I don't get it. I don't understand it. We got to let get to in the final
What's the one you're giving no
Clemson.
Clemson is the one.
Texas has to give it to him.
I'm giving SMU and Clemson no chance.
SMU no chance?
No chance.
Okay.
No chance in that weather, on the road, no chance.
Well, what's the weather?
Cold.
Wasn't it cold in Charlotte? It didn't look like it was warm.
I feel like Pennsylvania cold's a little bit different than Charlotte cold. I've been to Charlotte in December. It can get a little nippy out there. It ain't Pennsylvania backwoods cold up there. The other two, you can make an argument for me. We got a lot to get to in the final hour of the show. We will give our Sprague in the Line some picks, maybe, potentially. Get your sponsors in. It's our last show of the week, 503-864-6326. That's coming up at 8:30. Some other NFL notes I want to get to leading into the weekend, including Thursday Night Football. We'll start with George Ryer, though, who we tried to have on earlier with technical difficulties. Kept him from coming on. He joins us next on The Fan.
Sports Station. Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, Week 15 of the NFL slate begins in San Francisco. 49ers looking for some revenge against the Rams. Lost to them in Week 3. Despite having a 2-touchdown lead, it was 27-24 the final. Kyron Williams had 3 touchdowns for L.A. 5:15 kick on Prime Video tonight. Niners 2.5-point favorites. The football world's still wondering how Bill Belichick ended up at Chapel Hill as the new head football coach, getting a 5-year deal to lead the North Carolina Tar Heels. Rich Rodriguez's coaching career about to come full circle with reports he will take the head coaching vacancy at West Virginia. He led Jacksonville State to a conference title this past season. Rich Rod coached the Mountaineers from 2001 to 2007. The NBA Emirates Cup semifinals are set. The Rockets will take on the Thunder after getting the benefit of a foul call with 3 seconds left. Jalen Green made 2 free throws as they beat the Warriors 91-90. Hawks with a big second-half rally at Madison Square Garden left the Knicks behind 108-100. Atlanta going to face the Bucks in the other semi. Both those games right here on The Fan Saturday in Vegas. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Jason Swigard from The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand at the Odyssey app, The Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Live, local, and free. No subscription required. Portland's sports leader is 1080 The Fan. This is Dirt and Sprague.
How does a tiger get in the bathroom? He almost killed me.
Hey, bro, you mind putting on some pants? I find it a little weird I have to ask twice.
Pants at a time like this, I don't have any.
With Andy Dirt Johnson and Brendan Sprague.
Hey, is it a little too early for being that loud? Hey, too late. It's 0600. What's the O stand for? Oh, my God, it's early.
Dirt and Sprague on 1080.
Okay, I'm going to get on that. Just give me a minute.
Joyce is very upset.
Flo, we've discussed this. Mornings are for coffee and contemplation. Coffee and contemplation.
The Fan. In this wide world of sports, some stories can slip through the cracks.
Now, before we do this, let's go over the ground rules.
Pelican Brewing presents The Daily Ticker, where Dirt and Sprague hit the big stories you've heard about, and some you haven't. The Daily Ticker with Dirt and Sprague is poured by Pelican Brewing. Celebrate the season with a Northwest tradition, Bad Santa Cascadian Dark Ale. Pelican Brewing, born at the beach.
How dare Dan Lanning trying to interrupt the Daily Ticker? What are we doing here, Dan?
He's talking with his helmet.
He does. He's a keystone species of this segment. We'll see if George Ryer wants to be as well. Joining us now for the Daily Ticker, brought to you by Pelican Brewing's Bad Santa, the Cascadian Dark Ale that brings holiday cheer to your glass. Get on the naughty list with Bad Santa. Tried to do this earlier this week, and we were having technical difficulties on our side. I'm glad we can hopefully figure this out. George Ryer, do you hear us? Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
All right, there we go, baby. There we go. We're off to a good start. Go give him a follow on Twitter at George Reister, The Unafraid Show, Mad Dog Radio, YouTube, Sirius XM. The guy's everywhere, and he was at the Big Ten championship game in Indianapolis on Saturday night. What did you make of it, man? Was it weird for you? I mean, you're a Duck, obviously, but the Big Ten stuff, was it weird being at the Big Ten championship game? What was the vibe like? Break down what it looked like Saturday night for me.
Okay, so I was at the Pac-12 championship last year, and so I have a reference to compare it to. Was on the field for both games. It was the pomp and circumstance surrounding the Big Ten championship was different, and the fan energy was different. I mean, it was 2,200 miles from Eugene. About 500 miles from College Station. I didn't mean from College Station, from Happy Valley. And there were more Penn State fans than there were Oregon fans, and they were actually kind of loud at some points in the game, along with the damn Penn State band that was playing when we had the ball. But yeah, overall it was a really good experience. And I do believe that the other part about it is you knew you were playing for something big, but there wasn't that historical energy around it. Like the Washington game had so much energy because it's Washington. We literally have no history against Penn State since 1995. So it was like so you were just playing a good football team and not, history.
Well, the thing about that I thought was interesting in year one in this conference, as weird as it was, George, Oregon goes through it undefeated. They end it with the conference championship game. You didn't have it pregame. Do you think you had it post season one in the Big Ten? Does everybody in the Big Ten now hate Oregon, and now you've got that animosity that you build all those years in the Pac-12 in the Big Ten?
Oh, it's getting close. Oh, it is getting very, very close. That people are – Because at first they were saying, okay, no big deal. They came in and won. And when you beat Penn State, Ohio State, and Michigan in the same season, and you out-recruit them too, then you're starting to be bothersome. And now they're like, okay, these dudes are freaking annoying. They must be stopped.
Yeah, that's going to be the theme going forward for sure.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, like him be like, these weirdos must be stopped. Like we can't allow this thing to get rolling. Because if they do, it's going to get nasty.
Yeah.
George, are you eating right now?
You hungry?
No, the children are always hungry in the mornings.
Yeah.
Yes. Are we going Pop-Tart? What are we doing? There sounded like a Pop-Tart rapper kind of situation.
Oh no. We don't Pop-Tart in this house.
Oh.
We so but they normally have a very nutritious and delicious breakfast. This morning, Dad was a little bit slow on the get out of bed this morning.
What did you think of Oregon's bracket reveal? They get the 1 seed winning the conference. Not surprising they get the 1 seed. What did you think of the matchups they potentially have, the wait at the Rose Bowl for either Tennessee, Ohio State? What did you just make of the bracket release? How exciting was that as a former college player and somebody covering the sport? How excited was it just to have like a bracket reveal and think about, man, how far that sport's evolved from never having something like this? No way could you do this to here's 12 teams and what Oregon's path is to get there.
Well, I think a lot was made out of the path, and they're like, oh, my God, it's so difficult. How do we know? How do we know? This could turn out to be a blessing in disguise because this team, one team we've already beat, and another team, like who knows how they come out of the game. I mean, you could be playing – do you realize how much easier it looks to play Georgia without Carson Beck? It looks a lot easier. And styles make fights. So you just and so people get caught up. Oh my God, Ohio State's roster. If they roster was so damn good, they wouldn't have lost 2 games already. So people are looking at the potential of teams and they're like, oh my God, it's going to be a harder game. Are you sure? Is that going to be a harder game than playing against dudes who are playing with their hair on fire, like playing against Arizona State, who doesn't understand that they should just be laying down to everybody, but instead they're too stupid to to realize that they're supposed to lose and they're going to go beat somebody.
Yeah, that's the interesting part of seeing how it plays out is if we all assume that chalk is going to play out, but it's not a guarantee that chalk's going to happen.
It will not. What chalk has happened this year? Chalk has not happened. If so, Vanderbilt doesn't beat Alabama. If it's chalk, Alabama ends up in the playoff. If it's chalk, Florida State doesn't go 2-10 this year.
Right.
Like there's no chalk this year. It is just, listen, you better come out and you better play your game. And I know that whoever just thinks that Boise State is going to go lay down or Arizona State's going to go lay down or Georgia's guaranteed to be in the finals, you got another thing coming, dude.
Yeah.
And people that believe that SMU, they're like Penn State got the easiest pass. They get to go play SMU. Oh yeah, you get to go play the number 1 or number 2 run defense in the entire country. Okay, cool. Let me see how that works out for you. And they're like, oh well, then they get to play Boise. Well, Oregon already had some trouble with Boise. These are not layup games, and they're not. And that game could be much harder for Penn State than it could be for Georgia or it could be for Oregon. It's like the NCAA tournament bracket. How many times have we seen people complain about the bracket and they're like, this team has such a hard path. This is ridiculous. It's so hard. Or this team has such an easy path. And then that easy path gets knocked off by Fairleigh Dickinson or Florida Gulf Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah, George, my co-host went to Oregon, and he wants the easiest possible title he could possibly get. So, like, if he could get an SMU, he would take it all day. I have the argument.
Not easier.
Well, no. No, I get that, but like in the sense of Georgia SMU on paper, I think for people is how I'm phrasing this. Not that it actually would be, just the paper matchup of it all. I think you'd want to beat Georgia to win the first title. Where are you at on just a team you want to see Oregon beat to get by in this run?
I don't care. Just man, you can put my mom out there. Let them run. If she's in the bracket, she can get ran over too. People make too much of, who did you? Man, this is already going to be the hardest national championship that anybody ever wins. Nobody's ever had to win 3 or 4 games to win a national championship. So it's already going to be the hardest. But then when it comes to who do you want to see them beat, whoever's in front of them. And when people are all up, it's a hard path. Look, listen, line them up, check ball. And the other part is Oregon's never won a national championship. And I'm a person who believes in sports curses, right? So, and to break a sports curse, you have, and I don't think that Oregon's cursed, but either break a sports curse or to do something that you've never done before, you have to go through unprecedented obstacles. You think that Oregon is going to get its first national championship after losing in the national championship twice and just walk through the easiest path and just skate by? Or they got to go through the big names, the big dogs and everything else, and then you get the respect that you deserve. So it was never going to be easy, and it's not going to be easy. It's going to be a hard path, and you just got to overcome it.
Yeah, game by game, man. It started on Saturday night in Indianapolis against Penn State in the Big Ten championship game. George Ryer.
Why do you have to do his mom like that?
I love it. Hey, I feel the same way.
Arm.
I feel the same way. I'll stiff arm my mom for a national championship if that's what it's going to take.
You guys are
cold-blooded. Go give him a follow on Twitter at George Ryer. Unafraid Show.
My mother knows that.
She knows. They understand it.
Yeah.
On YouTube, Mad Dog Radio, Sirius XM, the guys everywhere. Enjoy the playoff run, man. Thanks for the time this morning, and let's do this again soon.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
There you go, George Ryer.
Poor Mama Reister out here just getting a stiff arm right to the ground to win a championship.
Live from his kitchen.
You would stiff arm your mom?
I would. For a national championship, I would.
You're not even you didn't play.
No, I would. I would stiff arm her for, I'm sorry, Mom. You're taking one for the team.
Wow.
Taking one for the team.
I'm going to ask that poll question. Would you stiff arm your own mother to the ground for your team to win the national championship?
For a team to win a national title.
Damn. You guys are cold-blooded. I might break my mom's hip.
It's a natty, man.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm getting another one of those. A hip can recover. I don't know if I'm getting another one of those.
I mean, at a certain age, does the hip recover? I feel like I hear people go all the time because of broken hips.
Yeah, look, I mean, the point is definitely valid of it might be chalk might not hold in the bracket. Like I totally entertain that notion, but if you're going to try and argue with me that it might be easier to play Georgia than SMU, you're losing me a little bit. I don't care about Carson Beck being out or not. Like, but I know SMU has a good run defense, and they had a good run. They shut down Clemson's run game, and I get that. They might slow down Penn State's run game. I grant you that. But there's nobody on the planet that would look you in the eyes and say, I would rather – my life is on the line and I need a win.
Yes.
I'd rather play SMU than Georgia.
Is it weird to say –
or excuse me, Georgia than SMU.
I'm with both of you here, though. Like, yeah, in that scenario, 100%. I'm with you. But he's also right, and we've kind of talked about that this week. We don't know which path will end up proving to. Ohio State wins narrowly on a field goal. Oh, my God, they had 2 massive injuries from playing that extra game.
Yeah.
Now they go to the Rose Bowl.
They're already banged up to begin with. They already got 2 offensive linemen that are out.
Exactly, right? Yeah. So it's just like we don't know what path will ultimately prove to be the toughest.
I did want to get one other quick note in here, and then we'll move on to some NFL stuff for a chunk of the rest of the show. I saw this from our buddy Tyson Aldry yesterday of the I-5 corridor, and there was a graphic that came out that listed Oregon's blue chip ratio for this recruiting class, which is just insane to look at. Their blue chip ratio for the recruiting class that has now been finalized, 95% of the recruiting class is a blue chip player.
Yeah.
Next highest is Georgia at 86%. But Tyson digged this up, and it kind of sums up the feeling over the overall health of the program. The last time Oregon was in the college football playoff, so that was in 2014, where they went to the title and lost to Ohio State. That was back when signing day was in February following the game. So their signing day was a couple of weeks after that national championship. Their blue chip ratio from that recruiting class for the last time they were in the playoff, 33%.
Jeez.
Just to show you how different things are 10 years later of like, that was a great run.
Go
but
back and look at Ohio State's blue chip recruit percentage.
yes, in that game,
point, right?
it was where Oregon is at right now, and that sums up the feeling about the overall health of the program. Let's get to some NFL stuff, including Thursday Night Football. A big one for the NFC West tonight because the Niners throw a wrench into the plans. We're going to make some of the bigger games this weekend, including the showdown in Detroit. We'll start diving into that. Coming up next on 1080 The Fan.
It's time for a sports injury report. The injuries and rehab that impact the success of sports teams. Brought to you by Rock Orthopedic.
He's still day-to-day right now. I wouldn't say a lot more. It got more kind of complicated as the week went on, so that's why we had to do some more tests and stuff. But right now there's positive signs.
That is Mike McDonald talking about Kenneth Walker, who they didn't really miss last week because there comes Charbonnet for one of the best games of his career, but they're still evaluating him ahead of their game this weekend.
Yeah, Charbonnet had his career game on Sunday against the Cardinals. I don't know if he would duplicate that, but I actually think they could be okay this week without Walker against Green Bay. That's, by the way, sneaky great game this week.
It's a sneaky, really good NFL slate this weekend. I don't know if sneaky is the right word. It's a really good NFL slate this weekend.
Green Bay at Seattle, huge for them. They win that game. That goes a long way in kind of putting people in a different conversation.
Especially depending on what happens tonight. Sports Injury Report presented by Rock Orthopedic, board certified specialists who diagnose and treat the widest range of orthopedic cases with care and expertise. To schedule an appointment with Dr. Brian Puskas, visit rocpdx.com.
This is Dirt and Sprague on 1080 The Fan.
All right, we'll see if anybody wants to spring the line coming up in 10 minutes. Somebody asked, why is this our last show until next Friday? Well, we enjoy taking time off around the holidays, so, a little vacation. We usually take the last 2 weeks of the year off, but we're not going to do that this year fully because we want to be here to talk about matchups and playoffs, and it's just a different calendar now. So we will be back doing a show next Friday and next Monday. I'll run through a little bit of the schedule that people can expect in the final segment because, thankfully, there's not going to be a single best of show. There will be live local programming.
Yeah, we're going to have guest hosts
every day that we're out from now until the end of the year.
We got Luke,
so,
we got Schultze, we got Ortner.
People filling in a ton, man. Yeah. So thanks, everybody, for helping out. So there will be live local programming. We're just taking some time off because, it's vacation. So we'll be back next Friday, and then the Monday after the playoff games. Those will be our last 2 shows of the year. Everybody excited for the showcase games in the NFL. I think it starts probably... easy number 1 has to be Ravens-Giants, right?
I don't know how it's not.
Just
the race for number 1.
Biggest game of the year.
Number 1 in the AFC North, number 1 in the NFL draft.
Thank you.
What are you doing?
Giants in the chase for the number 1 overall pick.
There's an interesting blurb I read on a coach's rumor article at ESPN that it's still not certain if Daboll's going to be the coach next year or not. They have never drafted a quarterback. The Schoen...
this regime.
Daboll regime have not actually been able to select a quarterback. I would argue they chose Daniel Jones, and they chose really wrong.
That turned out poorly.
But Mara also doesn't want to run through coaches every 2 years, so it's like he's balancing, do I be patient? Also, this has been even worse. This hasn't even been a fight. And they kind of fought last week, but they scored 11 points.
That was the Saints, and I'm not going to give you credit for that. No, easily the game of the weekend in the NFL is Buffalo and Detroit. I cannot wait for this. Buffalo on the road last week, down big, comes back, quarterback sneak call. What are we doing? But 10-3, great year.
This is easily the game of the weekend?
Easily the game of the weekend.
I will disagree with you there.
Steelers-Eagles?
I think it's Steelers-Eagles.
Stop it. Steelers-Eagles is not a better game than Lions and Bills. Poll question me right now. It's not a better game.
Why?
Because I think people have a doubt in the back of their mind about what Pittsburgh can accomplish atop the AFC.
And if they win at Philadelphia, what does that do?
And they clearly have that issue in Philly. We heard from the fans.
This is my point. Detroit was in the NFC Championship game last year, and Buffalo was a play away from going to the AFC Championship game last year, and they might have the MVP on their team.
See, you're okay. I think we're okay. This is where we're separated. You're saying just in general you'd rather watch Allen versus Campbell.
Without a doubt. It's a better game.
Yeah, I know. It is, but it's not.
It's definitely a better game. It's a better game. Russell Wilson against that defense.
Everybody's talking about Russ and how he's back to his old Russell Wilson ways, and Pittsburgh's this surprise start, and Philadelphia barely beat the Panthers.
I'm doing a poll question on this right now.
Well, you're going to say which game would you rather watch?
No, I'm just saying what's the better game this weekend. I said that's the best game of the weekend in the NFL, and you said it's not.
I attach other things to best game of weekend.
That's
fine. I think what's attached to Philadelphia-Pittsburgh makes it better. If Detroit loses to Buffalo, I'm not going to come in next week or if we talk about it and say, couldn't believe it. I'm going to say Josh Allen's effing awesome and the Bills are good. And if the Lions win, I'm going to say, the Lions are a juggernaut. No surprise there. What's the conversation if Philadelphia loses at home to Pittsburgh? Or what's the conversation the other way of how do you place Pittsburgh in the AFC picture?
Yeah, I still put them behind obviously Kansas City. I still put them behind Buffalo.
You probably still put them behind Baltimore in your mind.
I'd still put them behind Baltimore. I know they beat them and they might win the division.
What if they go to Philly and win?
None of that's going to change for me.
Philly just bullied and body bagged Baltimore 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And if Pittsburgh goes to Philly and wins, that doesn't do anything for you?
And then they barely hung on to beat the Panthers.
They did, yeah. Yeah, and the Steelers, they beat the Browns last week, so they redeemed their snow game loss in Cleveland a couple of weeks ago.
Let's break the tie. Swag,
Look, I understand your argument, but you cannot tell me, if it's just the best game of the weekend, if I give you one game to watch this weekend, you're not watching Steelers and Eagles over. If I give you one game to watch this weekend in the NFL, you know what the answer is. Stop with the storyline crap.
No.
Nobody is choosing to watch Russell Wilson over Josh Allen.
There's more on the line for the fan bases and things moving
so you'd rather watch
that game.
So you'd rather watch it because of that?
Yes.
I mean, it adds intrigue to it. That's
I'm
what
not
makes
arguing that it's a bad game.
I'm with you. I think the Eagles-Steelers is more intriguing. It might not be more as aesthetically pleasing.
You guys are idiots.
Love Josh Allen.
As Detroit and Buffalo slinging it all over the yard.
Poll question is out.
But in
Go
terms
throw your
of
support
what
behind
game
somebody.
means more this
Yeah, it
weekend
just
to a
means
lot
more.
of stuff
That's
and
fine.
a lot of fan bases, it's the Battle of Pennsylvania by far.
So if Buffalo goes on the road and loses by 2 touchdowns to Detroit, coming off a loss to the Rams, okay, I think people will. That'd be back-to-back losses.
Why are you batting an eye at Buffalo, who you know is good, losing to who you know is good, Detroit, but Philly losing at home to Pittsburgh, who you don't think is good? I don't do anything about it
because I don't trust either team. To be honest with you, I don't trust either of them.
Philadelphia is probably the second best team in the NFC.
That's fine. I don't trust them.
Okay.
You're an idiot. You guys are absolute idiots. You know that?
You know what?
We get a bunch of free sneakers. I wear sweatsuits to work. My kids are healthy. My wife's hot. I got a pretty good life.
No, I don't right now. Early results, by the way, 90-10, 10 votes in. That is the Louisville head coach.
Yes, Pat Kelsey.
My wife is hot.
My kids are
Good
healthy.
for
My wife's
him.
hot.
He's so right.
After Dan Hurley complaining about having to play in tournaments over the holidays.
I had to go to Maui. You know
Yeah,
what
he
that
was asked about having to play Duke, Louisville, and UTEP in the same week.
Yeah.
Can we talk? I know
My
we
life's
have
not
a
bad.
Thursday night football, and we got Packers Seahawks. By the way,
Packers
Is that
Seahawks is a
Monday
fun
night?
game.
Sunday
Thursday night
night?
game's a fun game. You got Sunday night football, Packers and Seahawks.
It just needs to be brought up.
Bucks and Chargers. If Herbert plays, kind of a sneaky little afternoon game on Sunday.
Yeah, we
I'm
need to see
interested in that
Herbert
one.
Practice.
Yeah.
He didn't practice yesterday.
He's not practicing right now.
Well, Tampa needs to keep winning because they took over Atlanta because
They did.
Atlanta has stumbled here a little bit.
They did.
I'm going to give you one that we don't care about, but we need to give them a round of applause. For the first time, ladies and gentlemen, in 2 years, the Carolina Panthers are favorites
Let's go.
against the Dallas Cowboys.
Let's go. Kind of contemplating gambling on the Cowboys, if I'm being honest with you.
Oh, I was going to
am
go the other way on that one.
I mean, the Panthers are a really fun story.
Ride the
but
train,
there's-
buddy.
Yeah.
The
yeah.
Cowboys are a mess. Did you see
they
Micah
should have
Parsons?
covered. They should have covered. They should have covered on Monday night.
Woulda.
Shoulda. Yeah.
Shoulda.
They should have covered.
Did you find out? Did you guys see Leggett, who didn't? He dropped that ball.
Eats raccoons?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did an interview
Where's
on the
he-
St. Brown podcast.
Where's he from?
He
the
like
deep south.
backwoods.
The deep south.
The deep south. The deep south.
Boy, you're a hater on Pittsburgh, Philly.
I am hating on this Battle of
Oh,
Pennsylvania.
you're gonna love it when they're throwing batteries at their own players.
I can't wait to watch
Tomlin's
that
done it again.
16-9 game with
Yeah,
nothing
it's
but
even
field goals,
better.
and Jalen Hurts can't complete a pass, and the Steelers kick 4 field goals and win 12-6. Oh, I can't wait to watch that. Yes, I'd much rather watch that than Dan Campbell going for it on 4th down from his own 4-yard
Yeah,
line.
we've never seen that before.
And Josh Allen going for
Or like
700
Tomlin's not
total
gonna go
yards and
for it?
13 touchdowns. Tomlin never goes for it on 4th
Oh,
down.
he does now.
He
does this
went
year.
to give
Yeah.
me the under last
Yep.
week. Thank you very much.
Tomlin's
My
been
only
more aggressive this
Yeah,
year.
then he'll get to the playoffs and he'll punt from the going in 37-yard line when he could kick a field goal and choose not to
I
do
can't
it.
wait to shove this
Such
terrible
a
towel down your
negative
throat.
Nancy over there.
We're gonna forget about
$50
it.
to them.
Poll question is up. What's the best game this weekend in the NFL? Bills and Lions or Steelers and Eagles?
How about Packers Seahawks just not getting any love for that
I
conversation?
mean, that's a great game. Don't get me wrong.
what,
It's not in that
what
category yet, though.
controversial video review is going? Are we going to lose our
What
minds
onside
over?
kick's going to go Seattle's way?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not quite in that category yet for me. Very good game, very impactful game. Who's Seattle rooting for tonight?
They're rooting
the
for San
Niners.
Francisco.
San Francisco?
Yeah. They split with them. I just think the Rams might have their number. We'll wait to the end of the year for that. They're without a doubt rooting for San Francisco because they could beat Green Bay. And you're poo-pooing some of these games a little too much for my taste, Andrew. If they beat Green Bay and they look good doing it, I think you, much like me with Pittsburgh, you owe them a public apology.
I owe them a public apology.
Yeah, that's a good win.
Oh,
that's
a great
good
win.
Green Bay's good.
Seattle, that would be a good win for
Be a good
Seattle.
win.
And it would lock up the division if they win it.
Not quite.
I mean, not quite, but
their schedule.
close.
Let me
Close.
See. It'd be a good win for them.
It would be a very good win. If San Francisco wins tonight and Seattle wins on
They
Sunday
still
night.
have Minnesota, and then they're at the Rams to end the year.
Yeah, they still got a game against LA. But I'm saying if San Francisco wins tonight and they win on Sunday night,
it goes a long way.
I mean, that's if you
Certainly.
blow that.
Well, if they stay, if the
lead.
Rams stay within a game of the Seahawks, I fully expect that Rams-Seahawks game to be the Sunday night game because it will most likely be
the most impactful last
win
game, right?
And you're in the division, lose, you're out.
So the Seahawks
looking at the wild card race where everybody else is
the
at.
Seahawks end with the Rams, right? These are the games leading into it. This is why tonight's so big for the Rams. They get past the Niners. They're at the Jets, who are all but broken. as Rodgers tells everybody, goes on ESPN to just pop off, literally irony, and then they end with the Cardinals before the Seahawks. Whereas Seattle, they get Green Bay at home.
Packers, Vikings, and then to the Bears.
And then the Bears is sneaky. No, that's a sneaky
It's the day after
game.
Christmas. That's a weird game.
Thank you. You don't know NFL
Is
anymore.
it going to be
You're a college
snowing and
The Bears have had like 7 total yards in the last 2 weeks.
I think
Day
that's
after
a
Christmas.
circumstance game.
Thank
They're
you.
on the road for Christmas,
Snowy
playing the day
weather.
after.
I mean,
what's
if
the
you
weather
can't win
like?
that game, you don't deserve to win the division.
No,
You know
I
how-
understand that, but that's a weird circumstance game.
Well, then you're
aside
telling
from
me
your
then you don't
opponent.
believe in the Seahawks if you don't think they can win that game.
No, that's not what we're saying.
That's not what you're saying. So good team, but they can't
Good
beat.
teams can't lose to bad teams.
I'm not arguing they can't lose to bad teams. The Bears.
Cleveland beat Baltimore.
Thank you.
We see it. That's a weird. That's
The
a
Bears
game
have not won a game since September.
that I guarantee when that line comes out, it's
One of the
going to
worst
be
teams
like
in the NFL.
Seattle -3, and you're going to go, what?
Do you know how most bears get their prey in Yellowstone?
How do they get their prey?
Sneaking up through the
That's-
snow.
That's it.
Swag gets it.
He gets it.
Swag gets it. Dirt. I mean,
Nope.
yeah.
Poll results right now: 85 to 15%. Best game of the weekend in the NFL.
I'm glad
is
your two
Bills
friends and your
Lions.
mom voted
Yeah,
early.
that's who's going to go vote.
His mom didn't. His mom's the one no vote. She got stiff arms.
Yeah, she's already out.
She hasn't moved on the ground
Already
for 15
out of the conversation. Bills and Lions,
Minutes. Or Sue
or
Johnson's just lying there lifeless.
Bills and Lions, or Steelers and Eagles. What's the best game in the NFL this weekend? Go vote at Sprague on Twitter. Let's do a little maybe Sprague in the line coming up next. But first, your Swag with SportsCenter.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Brought to you by 808 Hawaiian Restaurant. Mixed plates like Grandma used to make if your grandma were from the Big Island. Woodstock, Burnside, Beaverton are online at ate-oh-ate.com. First on the Fan. Indeed, the Niners and Rams will lock horns to start Week 15. They're in San Francisco. L.A. took the first game 27-24, coming back from 2 touchdowns behind. Kyron Williams had 3 scores. We'll kick at 5:15 tonight on Prime Video. Niners 2.5-point favorites. Rich Rodriguez's coaching career looks to be coming full circle. The reports out of Morgantown indicate he will take the head coaching vacancy at West Virginia. This after he took Jacksonville State to a conference title this past season. Rich Rod coached the Mountaineers from 2001 to 2007. Bill Belichick is indeed going to take over the program in Chapel Hill, agreeing to a 5-year deal as the new head football coach of the North Carolina Tar Heels. The NBA Cup semifinals all set after Houston ended a 15-game losing streak to the Warriors thanks to a controversial foul call late in the game. They beat Golden State 91-90. They will take on the Thunder Saturday in Vegas. As well, the Hawks going to Vegas to take on the Bucks. They rallied to beat the Knicks at Madison Square Garden 108-100. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Jason Swigard from the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand at the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
The Fan is live on YouTube and Twitter. This is Dirt and Sprague on 1080 The Fan.
Sprague in the line. Sprague in the line. Sprague in the line. Sprague in the line.
We did have a couple that trickled in here. It's always weird on a Thursday. You know, we're throwing people off.
We didn't tee it up very well.
Sprague in the line brought to you by Absolute Idiots. Watching Russ game manage is more interesting than listening to you Sprague bet. Sure. Sprague in the line
Absolutely.
Is that a shot at me and Swag?
I think so. I think it was like a watch. I think you're arguing to watch Russ manage a game, but I think some of the words got jumbled up a little bit in there. Sprague Live brought to you by the Gallery at the 13th hole at Eastmoreland. Those two people could at least shoot par while Sprague triple bogeys.
That's true. Oh my God! If I golfed right now, it'd be so bad. I haven't golfed in so long.
Sprague Live brought to you by Sprague's Massage. Whoever rubs him down better wear eye protection, or else his pale skin will cause permanent retina damage.
It's not the only reason you wear eye protection rubbing me down.
It's true. Let's see here. Sprague Live brought to you by Bill Belichick and taking the North Carolina job. He plans to do some scouting for his next girlfriend. I did enjoy the thoughts, by the way, that I missed about running over women to win a national championship.
Yeah.
Somebody said I'd kick a pregnant woman in the shin for a natty.
I thought they were going to go Tyreek Hill there for a second. No, thank you.
You do what you got to do, man. Somebody said I sound like a... Where did that go? It's all jumbled in there. I sound like a heartbroken ex-wife, I guess, in the NFL argument.
By the way, the Bears won a game in October, you jerk.
They did. They did win a game in October.
The London game.
Who did they beat?
The Jags. That was the last win.
That's right.
They went 4-2. They were the talk of the league.
They were the talk of the league.
They have lost every game since then.
Every game since then.
God.
Every single one. How'd they do in San Francisco last weekend?
Very good in the second half.
Did they have 10? Did they, though? Did they?
Better.
Did they?
They had like 4 yards at halftime.
Yeah, which is why, I rest my case.
But your idea that a good team losing to a bad team.
Of course it can happen. Of course it can happen. Yeah. But if you're the whole argument of the previous was that Seattle's a good team if they win this, and if Seattle's a good team and they're going to the playoff and they need that win to clinch a spot, if you can't win that game, you don't deserve to be in the playoffs.
But that happens every week, every year in the NFL. And Swag's point, it's the day after Christmas. It's an in-between, tough teams.
You're on the road.
You're
if
on
they
the
were
road.
at home and whatever, but they're on the road.
Like it's snow
if they were at
weather.
home where they got their teeth kicked in by the Giants.
Well, they didn't get their teeth kicked in. They just lost to the Giants.
Yeah, what was the final score of that game?
Is no good team allowed to lose to bad teams?
Nope, that's not. Oregon doesn't lose to anybody.
Oh, well, this year.
Yeah, that's
give
right.
it time.
That's right.
Give it time.
I will give it time.
Dabo.
You guys making any picks? Are you picking? Is anybody picking?
I got multiple
game?
picks, by the way.
I think he wants to pick tonight's game.
By the way, the results right now are 86 to 14%. So
yeah, I tracked them. They're all your friends.
Are continuing to grow.
They're all your friends.
You both are giant idiots. Yeah, well. And I won the weekend in Sprague in the Line, so stick that in your pipe and smoke it. Technically with a tie. 2-0-1.
How did you win then if you tied?
I had a tie bet, so I didn't have a loss. 2-0-1 is better than 2-1.
I thought you were saying you tied us.
No, 2-0-1. I tied Thursday Night Football, and then hit on the Bucks and Chargers. Sprague, you hit on the Bills Rams over a 49.5.
Easy.
Yeah. And the Bengals on Monday Night Football.
Damn right I did.
And then you took Arizona against that good Seattle team because you had so much faith in them, and that one didn't work out for you.
Good spot.
And Swag, you hit on the Cleveland-Pittsburgh under a 43,
I did,
and that was all you hit.
went for it on fourth down.
Yes, he did.
So season standings, Sprague, you're 26-19. Swag, you slipped below 500 with that weekend at 22-23. And don't let me get hot at 18-26-1. I am going to take the 49ers tonight at 2.5.
Is it 2.5?
It is 2.5 on DraftKings.
Sub a field goal.
I got it sub a field
You're
goal.
biting, huh?
I'm biting. I don't care.
Oh, wait. No, it just went to 3.
Oh, get the hell out of here. I locked the bet in 30 minutes ago on DraftKings.
We go by what's
I'm
happening.
looking at it right now. 5:15.
Fine, then I'm not taking the pick.
3.
I'm not taking the pick. Coming up next, let's wrap up the show. Send you underway to Thursday next on The Fan.
It's time for To the House, the scoring plays that make football special. Brought to you by Smartline Home Design. Online at smartlinehomedesign.com.
They check the play to a draw to Williams. Stafford do it. His arms in the air. Williams is in, and the Rams are an extra point away from tying it.
Not having to see either of your faces for a week is going to be the best Christmas present I've ever got in my entire life. That was the last time the Niners played the Rams. They had a big lead in the game. They let it slip. The Rams outscored them 13-3 in the fourth quarter. Kyron Williams ran all over them, and they lost 27-24.
You know, your friends like, I'm not mad, then everybody says you're mad, and then everybody laughs because you've made them mad. That's kind of where I'm at with you right now.
Yeah, I hate you both. I hate you both.
I didn't change the line.
I hate everything about you.
It's 3. What do you
both
want?
of you. I hate both of you.
You should take them.
To the House, brought to you by Smartline Home Design. Their meticulous attention to detail translates into streamlined construction processes, saving valuable time and resources for their home building or construction partners, bringing your vision to life with a game plan for success. Find them online, smartlinehomedesign.com.
Minnesota for his first game is not the way to go, I'd argue who cares? It should have been after the Charger game. Penix should have started.
Their next 2 games, 3 of their last 4 games with the Falcons. Raiders on Monday night, Giants at home, then they go to Washington, and then they close with the Panthers at home.
Well, 2 of those games, one I don't think you'll win because I think the Commanders could be better.
Panthers are
feisty. They're playing well, so I guess give them that until they, choke against
the
Dallas.
Next 2 you got to get. You
have
got
to
to get
win
the
them.
next 2.
You have to.
You can't. Those are the 2 worst teams in the NFL right now.
Yeah, not good.
The Raiders and the Giants.
I heard a blurb in some of the playoff talk this week, and I was reminded about what Miami did to Florida to open the college football season. And it's like, it doesn't feel like it was that long ago I watched that game. And in the same way, I just remember we got a text from a Raider fan after they won their second game. And now I'm thinking about that. That was
long time ago.
10 weeks ago?
Long time ago.
It's just crazy that, what do you guys say about the Raiders now?
Yeah, that was when they beat the Ravens in week 2, and then they lost to the Panthers the next week, and then they beat the Browns randomly the next week, and everybody's like, oh my God, they're 2-2.
Yeah.
And that was their last win of the season.
Nuts.
That is
been a long time.
It was 9 straight L's for the Vegas Raiders, so that's the bummer of Monday Night Football. I did lock in the Niners 2.5, so I hope people got it at 2.5. I'm not going to take it at 3 for Sprague in the line because that to me is a push number, and I don't want to push again like I did last Thursday. So I'm going to stay away from that. I do have my Sprague in the line picks already locked in.
Really?
Yeah, I'm taking the Falcons -4 Monday night in Vegas.
Is that just a bet on a bad team?
That, and I think it's their last. This is our stand. This is our season. It's all on the line. We got embarrassed in Minnesota last week. All the pomp and circumstance of the Kirk Cousins return game because everybody was thrilled about that. I think they win that game by a touchdown. Raiders are openly tanking. It's bait, but I'm going to take it. I'm on the over of Lions and Bills. Lions have a banged-up front 7. The Bills can score on everybody.
I looked at that number. Vegas learned their lesson on the Buffalo Bills.
They did. To me, that's a 35-31 game. It's very similar to what we've seen. Those 2 offenses can move it on almost everybody. Bills have massive issues defensively. Lions do as well, so I love the over in that game. And then on the other exciting game of the weekend, I love the Steelers this weekend, +5.5 in Philly.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to win. I think Philly's got legitimate issues on offense. I don't trust their quarterback. They can't really throw it right now.
Does no Pickens concern you?
It does a little bit, but I don't think that's how the Steelers cover anyways. I think they cover by playing ugly defensive Pittsburgh Steeler December football, and we're going to run it, and we're going to play defense, and we're going to kick some field goals, and that game's going to be 17-14. And so I contemplated the under in that game, but it's a pretty low number. So I'm just going to take the Steelers to cover the number at +5.5.
I dig it.
So those are my Sprague in the line picks.
You'll get me your picks tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll put the picks out.
Nice.
Yeah, we'll have the picks.
Okay, those are my picks.
Okay,
Those are my picks. Those are the picks. This is our last show until next Friday, and I do want to give a thank you to everybody who's going to be stepping in. This is a nice time of year for people who are looking for opportunities. So we are not going to have a single best of show. Our live shows remaining the rest of the year will be next Friday, the 20th. Monday the 23rd, and then that will be, I guess technically we'll be back, the 30th?
The following Monday.
Whatever that next Monday is. Yeah. So we'll be back the 30th, and everything will be full steam ahead at that point.
Yeah.
But we're going to have a rotating panel. Luke's going to do a bunch.
So, tomorrow will be Ortner and Jordan Schultz. Ortner, Jordan Schultz. Then Luke's going to be Monday through Thursday next week.
And then we'll be back Friday.
You'll be back. And then Friday
Monday.
the 27th will be Patrick Harris and Joe Fish.
We got a hot corner edition for that Friday. And then, we'll everybody fill in.
I will be here the entire run.
Swag will be here the entire run.
Is Schultz going to get pissed about Steve Belichick being hired at UNC?
I don't know. We'll find out. I don't know what to expect tomorrow. It's a football Friday.
It's nepotism.
I mean, are you sure, though? He's earned his opportunity.
Did he?
You could see him lick his lips on the sideline. Yeah, it is so funny, the nepotism ones that bother us and those that don't. If that guy ends up getting the
coach in waiting thing?
Yeah,
that's... Well, his daughter reportedly coaches lacrosse, and she's actually good. And the UNC coach reportedly is 32 years in, so she might. So not only does his girlfriend take over the cheerleading department, Steve may be handed the football program in waiting. His daughter might become the lacrosse women's coach.
Of course. It's the way it works, man.
UNC Belichick's. How about that?
That's the way it works. Well, Thursday Night Football should be fun tonight. Anything else on the radar sports-wise?
Cupping.
Is the Cup on again tonight?
No. The Cup now goes to Vegas. Saturday semifinals right here.
We'll be in town tomorrow, though.
Yeah, you going to go to the game?
I'm going to the game.
You going to go? Got your tickets? How do they? How much?
cannot talk about that publicly.
Overpaid, huh?
I wouldn't say that.
Oh.
Might be the other way.
Free ticks?
Best number you can get.
Hey, free.
$3.99.
Nothing beats free, man.
No, it does not this time of the year.
Nothing beats free this time of year. Let's take a quick look at the poll questions. Starting last night, which coach will have the most success at their new job? Rich Rodriguez won 37%, then Bill Belichick 31%. Which team would potentially be the most exciting for a matchup in the playoffs? For Oregon, Georgia won 43%, then Texas 25%.
That would be so awesome to watch.
I don't know why people voted more for exciting for Arizona State over Notre Dame. That's interesting to me.
Scattaboo, Dillingham, all that stuff.
For the Cup, are you excited? 57% of you say no. Should you be shaking your boots over Bill Belichick? 90% of you say no. Will you shove your mom down for a title? 86% say yes. And 88% say Bills and Lions, best game of the weekend in the NFL. There you go. Good little show. If you missed it, go check the podcast. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you next Friday. We'll be live and local, though, throughout, obviously, the rest of the year. Have a great rest of your Thursday. Calling us next. You're listening to 1080 The Fan.